Let's go. Let's go. If you just let go.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't remember what mine is. I want to say it's Gemini.
I live
or Aries.
I live in my
one
ascending.
of them is Aries.
I live in my
really shocked to
ascending.
find
I don't know what the hell y'all talking about.
I live
Reverb Experiment episode number 44.
Woo.
We are the voice of the people about the culture. We are back. Steph is back.
What's good?
Welcome.
Steph is back.
Long time.
You were missed. We had a good time when you was gone, but you are definitely missed. So today on today's episode, we're going to just get right on to it. Before we get into the episode, we have some house cleaning to attend to. I ain't going to sugarcoat it. Roger's not going to be on the podcast anymore.
Oh.
I mean, that's straight. It's just going to just be us three and whoever guests we get.
Yeah. So I'm not going to BS y'all. We wish him the best. We, without going into further details, I think at a later date, we probably will. We don't shy away from having difficult conversation on this podcast, but there is also a level of respect that we have for our brother. And as much as we talk about mental health, and I'm not saying that he's going through anything with mental health, you just don't know what somebody else is going through. So when somebody needs a break, you give them a break.
Yeah, especially when they're not talking to nobody. So, we have no idea what the hell's going on. So,
yes.
I really like you a lot.
So
I know.
You're amazing.
I heard that a lot.
yeah. So again, if you are listening, we love you. We appreciate you. And we're just praying for you. And again, I don't want to frame this as if there's something wrong. It's just,
I'm just saying, hit us, nigga. That's all we asked for.
yeah, there's just been some absence of communication. But again, we are erring on the side of caution. Don't know what somebody's going through. May not be going through anything, but we decided to move forward. So going forward, it will be Steph.net, G_focused, and Photo B on the mic.
That's me.
All right. But hey,
I did bring my resume. I'm just saying, I didn't know y'all was hiring.
But listen though, but without Raj, there will be no podcast.
Period.
So we
True.
need to give him a round of applause for his contributions and for whatever he's done for the podcast. So we definitely appreciate it. And we're going to keep it G like that. So we're going to go ahead into the podcast. Obviously, you guys hear that we have a special guest, but let's talk about the topics. Talk about the topics. So first, we're going to get into some new music that dropped on Friday. It is summertime, right around the corner.
Oh,
you know what I'm
wait.
talking about? We're going to talk about a little bit of male privilege in the industry. We're going to chop it up with the special guest that we have here today. We're going to talk about Bad Boys LA season 1 that premiered, I think it premiered Friday. We're going to talk about Royce Reed and childhood trauma, etc., etc., etc. And then we're also going to talk about the Supreme Court nomination because we have black women here. So I want to get your guys' inputs, thoughts on that because I was kind of searching the internet and I don't think we realize the ramifications of what we're living through.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't know. It just didn't seem like it was treated as such, but we're going to talk about it here because we always talk about the culture. Before we get into the pod, I want to thank everybody that has been listening via Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all streaming platforms. If you are new here, and this is your first time listening to us, you can check us out at www.reverbexp.com. That you can find all of our past episodes, videos. You can leave a review. You can actually get information on us. And you can actually follow the Reverb Nation, which is a Facebook group that is dedicated to the podcast that acts as it's a group chat, basically a group text message or Black Twitter for Facebook. And we're about 14,000 strong in there. So it's live. It's nice. It's nice in there. So without further ado, I would like to introduce my friend, my colleague. She was on Bad Girls Club season 7. And she was also on a couple other episodes because, they just couldn't get enough of her. But we want to welcome Stasi Quinn to the Reverb Experiment Podcast. Give her
Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me to move the world. I really appreciate it. Me and Rob go back and like faux flats.
Yes, we do. We do go back. And I think just to kind of piggyback off of the conversation we were having with Raggio about Raggio, me and Stas kind of went through something similar.
Oh.
Where there was a little bit of a break.
Yeah.
Where we didn't speak for a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think that's where your friendship comes in.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think you got to give people grace because, again, you don't know what people are going through. And sometimes people just need to recharge or kind of find themselves or, you know, whatever. And we're going to talk about all that. But, you know, I think that we have to realize that in friendships that it's not always what, like, I think I don't know, it's just in this westernized culture, we always look at friendships of what you can get from somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then as soon as that person stops giving it, then it's like, oh, we're not friends anymore.
100%.
You know what I mean? And it's like, no, if you genuinely have a good friendship with somebody, you should love that person unconditionally. Should. I'm not saying will. Should.
You
should. Because when people are going through something, that's what a friend is supposed to be there for, right?
If your foundation is right, which our foundation was right.
Yep.
And having that place to be able to, we both were shifting. Like, you know what I mean? Like we were shifting. You got married and I shifted into a different place in my life and allowing each other to find our new foundation.
And grow.
Yes. And be able to do that apart from each other and come back together. And that's the key. Where it's like, yo, there was like, everybody's like, where's Rob? And how's Rob? And it's like, yo, I was like, Rob, it's good. Like,
I'm growing.
Yeah. We're all growing.
Sometimes
and it's like,
you gotta just move differently.
And that's it.
See,
and it's never apart. It's just higher.
Yes. And I think that for friendships is scary because if your foundation was based off of past trauma or something negative, and then when somebody starts moving, then that changes the dynamic of the friendship. Where some friendships are just based off of, I'm just going to vent to you about what's going on in my life. Right? And then when the other person's like, all right, I'm kind of trying to get to a more positive space and I'm not trying to hear all the negative and maybe you need to, then it's like, well, so what's wrong with you? Like, you trying to act like you better than me.
Right.
And then that's when the friendships kind of start frictioning. You know what I mean? So just give people time and space to grow. Especially for us, I don't think we've ever seen, except for Insecure. That's probably the one show that I saw where it was like showed a genuine friendship and how the dynamics are. But we never really saw. Actually, you know what? I think on Living Single did a pretty good job of doing that too. But neither here or there. We never saw what friendship looks like in your 20s, your 30s, and your 40s.
Adult friendships.
You know what I mean?
Hard to navigate.
There was something in common about both of those things that you mentioned, though. Both of those things was rooted in brown feminine energy and how you're able to fluctuate and grow through the thing. So I think that's important, like being able to have that strength, because there's something strong, like strength that comes from that.
I agree. I think that we should, in our friendships, just give people a little bit more grace and make sure that your friendship is based on something positive.
Yes.
Or, you know what I mean? So.
I think too, you got your, like, I think people want everybody to be their all around friend, but sometimes you have friends that you go out with. Sometimes you have friends.
Yes.
Like, there can be different relationships. Like, they don't all have to be like all encompassing. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
a good point.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a good point.
I agree.
No, yeah. I had to learn that just in my relationships, because you think that your spouse or whoever you're with is supposed to be your everything. And because that's how we were taught, right? Yeah. Like, oh, they complete me, or they're this. And it's like, no, you should have other people in your life that fulfill different buckets in your life. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to have a mentor. It's okay to have somebody that can give you some advice, or it's okay to have a going out with friend. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to have that, so that way you're not fully depending on one person for everything. Because that could be like a load on that person.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And because if the relationship ain't going good, then everything you depended on, then it's gone. You know what I mean? So
I mean, that's how it was in my last relationship. Like, you know, she didn't really have friends like that. I mean, she did, but they weren't always like, you know, consistent. And then when it comes to her family, she didn't give it, like, her family dynamic wasn't even all that phenomenal. So she kind of went more directed towards my family. Right. Like, she knows that she can talk to my family. I mean, my grandma and my auntie still say happy birthday on Facebook to her or something like that. So she goes to that. But it was like during the relationship, it was like, I can't be your happiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I want you to have more friends. Go hang out with your friends because I want to hang out with my friends.
Right.
You know?
And then that would become a problem because if you are splitting your time, but she's not splitting her time, which makes sense.
And that makes breakups tough.
Yes.
Because you're not only just breaking up from you, you're breaking up from the fam and
So my family, there's when somebody's a good person, they don't go to X amount just because or I'm my ex and shit. Because and plus I'm not someone who's going to trip, right? Because I know how my family is, I know how she was, and I know how it is. Like I'm not going to make a big deal about it,
Right?
Because they're good.
Yeah.
That's health. That's called health.
Well, and you obviously come from a good family.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But I've seen issues like that where the family's still friends with the ex, and then that causes a rift between the family and the
Right.
person. So
Plus, you don't live out here, so it's easy because it's not like I'm gonna have somebody else
And she
with
be
me,
around.
and then she pop up like, hey, I'm like, oh hey, this is.
But see,
No.
but that's just it. Why not? Like if she's still cool with him, why not?
Well, I'm just saying though, it ain't gotta be like that. But it's gonna if it comes down to that, it's gonna come down to that.
well, and sometimes it just depends on how you broke up too. Because if it's a bad breakup, then it's like you're kind of
Shit, we broke up and she went straight over to the family house. Go tell them about it. And I think it was I want to say it was Mother's Day.
Oh,
So they went. So it was first thing in the morning. She went over there to go talk to them, crying
You broke
about
up
it.
with her on Mother's Day?
She ain't a mother.
it's time to go. I'm like, wait a minute. That's why I'm like, on Mother's Day.
I mean,
He's like, she
Mother's
have no.
Day,
She
It's
don't
supposed to
have
be a
kids.
happy day. Like,
It didn't be a day.
He said it was happy.
It was, but then I ended up pulling up to season 52 because the whole family up there with my grandma and shit. And I sit down, and my dad looked at me like, "So how's your morning going?" I was like,
hey.
"Oh yeah."
And she put you on blast to the family.
Yeah.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
it's okay.
Yeah. Well,
It happens.
we'll talk about it. I have questions.
I
I'm nosy and I'm a healer, so I got questions.
All right. So before we get into the deeper conversations, I just want to ask Stasi some questions really quick. Because when I was trying to,
I'm legit scared.
no, you're not scared.
I am
It's
so
okay.
scared.
Listen, so
be
I
out.
was just kind of
I'm
just trying to
scared.
rekindle and look back on the last 10 years, and I came across this website that has some Stasi trivia.
Oh,
So I want to just ask you.
Stasi,
I need
website that has Stasi
I need
trivia.
some alcohol. This water ain't
Hey,
gonna
you should
do
put in
it.
a request for that a little bit earlier.
So look,
Actually, I got some Douce.
I just want to ask if this stuff
Look
is
here,
just-
light skin.
I want to ask if
Go.
some of these things are still true.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. So it says that your favorite movies are The Little Mermaid and Legally Blonde. Is that still true?
That is
Oh,
dang, that Little Mermaid on the background. On the phone background.
That's a yes.
definitely still true. I'm still very much a child at heart.
All right. Your favorite color is pink?
Yes.
Yes.
You should have put the pink shirt on.
I should have put the
Should have put.
I should have put the pink
Represent
shirt
your
on.
favorite color.
She prefers lip gloss to lipstick.
100%.
You see how popping it is.
3 for 3.
Shit.
You loves to hate Jada and Will Smith.
No.
Ooh.
And that's very funny. I've actually swung to the other side of things where I love to love them.
Okay.
Like where there's this
So I'm curious, what led to the loving to hate? Because this was before entanglement.
and you know what? I've become okay with not being liked publicly. Like where
Okay.
it's like this, I no longer sit in this place where it's like, oh, I gotta be, what is it, politically correct?
Right,
Like I don't care about none of that. Like I'm like, nah, I'm okay with sitting in the place. I mean, we won't even go to the reasons of all the things back in the days, Rob. But
Oh, Lord.
Sounds like we should.
no, we shouldn't.
It's 11:11.
I know it's 11:11, 100%.
It's
Oh, so you went to light skin. Me and you got to have some conversations. You like numerology?
Did this podcast turn into Love Connection?
Oh, no.
Okay, so look. So,
She don't like light skin. She
Shamala
likes the vibe.
Hamala.
I still didn't get to the answer. So you love to hate them pre-entanglement. So why did you love to hate them back then?
I loved to hate them because I love a good debate.
Okay.
So I loved they were always a conversation to be had.
They still are.
Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
for real.
100%. And back then it was easier because I can play devil's advocate even when I believe one thing. But
Okay.
back then it was just Yeah.
Because back then they were more loved than they are now.
Yeah.
So if you hated them, you
know
was
that.
definitely on the other end of the spectrum.
That's true.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, now you want to love them because you on the other.
No.
side.
Even back then, I had questions, and I loved to hate them in a way where it was like I loved to question and dig into their decisions. Like it was like I loved to ask the questions because people weren't asking the questions. Does that make sense?
Got you.
Yeah, so it was like that type of thing. So,
And they were definitely questions.
I got
that needed to be
autism,
asked.
so a lot of my words and understandings of things is a lot different, and I'm able to see that now
Okay, so you're
more.
on the spectrum.
Yeah, so it's just like me saying I love to hate it means it's more like I love to debate it.
Got it.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's a love debate conversation.
But now you
Yeah.
love them.
Oh, I love them very much out loud.
Why is that?
For the same exact reason.
debate
Because
them?
I love to debate them. Like I love to debate the choices and dig into if are you sitting on something because of the fact that it's what you've been taught, or it's because what is socially acceptable, or are you making a decision from your whole self because you don't think it's proper?
Got it. Okay. And now that we have more information, the majority of people swung from loving to hating them. So then you flipped from hating them, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. That makes sense. The last one I'm going to ask so we can get on. Pretty boys drive you crazy.
What do you mean? Like drive me crazy?
I don't know.
Oh, well, I mean, pretty boys have always drove me crazy, like light skin over here. Where
regard.
You know what? And it's funny because I think there was a clip where you said that you hated pretty boys because you couldn't have a man that was prettier than you.
100%. And when I say, you know what? Okay, so and when hearing that back, especially when I watched the episode because the way it was edited, it's that where it's like, oh, I need to be cute. It's never been that, and you know me, so
I know.
I ain't never been like the cute
They don't
girl.
know that. I know that.
I am very much. Look, I ain't got no mascara on. Like I am like, look, my nail appointment is later. I was like, it is what it is. I will get dirty. That's not my thing. It's more so if you are more caught up in looks than you are anything else, then I have a problem with that. I think Rob was actually the one who told me. He told me I have ugly girl syndrome. And look, this was
remember that.
this is why I was like, this is how Rob is. Me and Rob have some deep conversations. My dad was like, well, I'm gonna have to watch because you and Rob. And he said, you want someone to fall in love with your insides without seeing what you look like.
Damn, I said that.
Yeah.
Shit. Hold on.
He's like,
He's like, wait a minute.
Damn.
You know? But and I was like,
That's
yeah.
profound.
And I'm like, what's wrong with that? And he goes, that's what ugly girls do. They want you to don't worry about what they look like and fall in love with their heart and their personality. And I'm like,
But that's what you should do.
but you know that ain't what people be doing.
Regardless if that's what people are doing, but that's what you should
That's
be
true.
doing. That's why you like if you don't.
pretty's temporary.
Pretty is temporary.
But it's the first thing you see.
I've been looking good for a
you
long time,
can't
though.
look past it.
Light skin.
I'm done. I'm done.
Light
heard
skin.
that.
Like,
I'm
yeah,
done.
light skin. That's what happened. This is light skin. This
But
dude
attraction does play
is. Attraction definitely plays a part.
It plays
But you
a
know,
huge part.
But it shouldn't be the foundation. I understand what you're saying.
yeah, it shouldn't be the foundation. It should
all.
definitely be an
should be the
anchor.
person.
It should be an anchor, but it shouldn't be a foundation.
I got you. Yeah.
Like, oh, that's what got my
Anchor,
attention,
okay.
but that's what kept me around.
Yes.
Right, there you go. Yeah.
Right.
Because
It's
you
just
can
a
be
bonus.
you can be pretty but still be ugly.
Like a motherfucker.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Ugly spirit.
And that's my problem.
Yeah. Because you already know how I am.
I'm just
the
a
way
bad
you treat
bitch all
people.
around.
That. Oh man. What you say? I'm
Light
sorry.
skin.
Oh, got me bad.
He did.
It's all right. I'll give you that one. 2 points.
Touche.
That was a free
Okay,
throw.
I think that was fun. That was
Yeah,
fun, right?
that was fun.
A little trivia,
Yeah.
just to break the ice a little bit. So before we get into some of the interview questions for you, I want to just talk about the new music that dropped.
Yeah.
Right, because we
Man.
do talk about music on this podcast a lot since we are talking about the culture. A lot of people dropped. You had Summer Walker dropped her extended version of No Love with Cardi B and SZA. You had Latto that dropped 777. And I want to talk about the there seems to be a resurgence with the women,
Yes.
and I love it.
Yes.
Right, because at first it was always only one can kind of rock at a time.
Right.
It was a Kim, then Remy, then Nicki, but it seems like there's multiple women rocking all at the same time. You got Meg rocking. I know her documentary should be dropping, I think, later this year.
About that.
Yeah, we don't. That's a whole nother conversation.
He's like,
don't even open it up.
Yeah, don't even open it up.
Because
You got Latto rocking. You got Cardi B rocking. You got Nicki rocking because her record just went #1.
Nice.
Nicki, yeah.
So it seems to be there's like a kind of a women empowerment kind of push in hip hop, which I love it. Latto's album, I listened to it. I loved it from front to begin. I didn't think I'd skip one track.
Nice.
I love the sleep sample where she did the Twister.
Yeah, I like that too.
I like the big energy, obviously, and then I saw a tweet yesterday that Mariah Carey's going to hop on the remix.
Come on.
So you know when Mariah hop on something that there's big money pushing behind, you know what I mean? So it looked like that she's going to have, and I don't want to say a Cardi B run because I don't think you can compare anything to Cardi B's run. But this summer looks like it's hers.
Yeah.
Because that big energy record's been rocking for a minute, and then getting Mariah Carey to hop on it again. Now you crossing over into pop, lane. So, and then Cardi B's first album, every single track is platinum. So I want to just talk about that, and then also talk about the conversation that she had where she said that she could not get a record cleared because one of the male artists wanted to sleep with her.
Oh, 100%.
And I want to kind of gravitate that towards the women. You know, me and Foda, we probably have something to say, but not something that can relate on that level. Because I'm sure as women, you guys have probably been in situations where where you've had to exchange or try to get somewhere, and it's been kind of gatekept by a man that says, unless you sleep with me, you know, not saying it out loud, but maybe inferring
out
that.
loud.
Okay, well, yeah.
I haven't had it like that blatant, but you know, it's kind of like you kind of just accept like inappropriate, you know, conversations or things that might make you uncomfortable because you're like, I don't want to make a big deal out of this, you know, because this person is in this position or whatever. But I've never had nobody just flat out be like, if you want this, I'm gonna need that. Right. I haven't had that, but you know how it goes.
Oh, 100%.
Different innuendos or kind of hinting towards that. Yeah.
100%.
And being inappropriate and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They try to keep themselves safe for lawsuits because then they can go, no, like what I was saying was.
What I meant was.
And I was like, oh, you cute.
Right.
So you've experienced that, Stasi?
Oh, 100%. Straight out. Like literally was told to my face, so-and-so just gave it up for the $500 booking. And I said, well, you better call her back because
I ain't doing it.
what Nicki Minaj say? Look, I'm a millionaire. This pussy pricey. Like, I don't play that.
Right.
No, for real.
I don't do that. Like, I'm not about that life. And I've never been that. Like, I've always been more so surrounded by guys and been more of, which is very interesting because I've always been very me, very feminine, very myself, and still surrounded by a whole bunch of guys, and none of them can say they were sleeping with me. And it just wasn't my thing. It just wasn't my thing. It wasn't what I did. And I've always been like, not so much. But it's always very interesting watching from the other side because I give that energy. Like, I walk into the room and it feels very like there's always that one. It's very rare, but there's always that one. Like, but even when I did the show, like it was like producers, they would go do little stuff with everybody else. They wouldn't play with me. But when the executive producer walked onto the scene, I was the one they had conversations with. Why? Because the way I carried myself, I carried myself in a way that said, yeah, no, I'm not the one.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. But everybody will try every now and again. And this always tends to be the littlest guy in the room because, you know, they got that fake confidence and they're like, oh, I can get her. And I was like, oh, honey, you want to you want me to get on my back? I'll give you a piggyback ride.
So, well, I'm not short.
No.
Integrity.
Okay. Like 100%.
No,
and it's so sad because all of my trauma and all the stuff I was going through, I should have been throwing it in the circle. But, you know, God gave me something extra that just wasn't.
You know what that was? Growth.
Look, even back then, I'm telling you.
Well, and you know, I think what people don't realize is you cannot negotiate your price after you've already sold.
The price is
That
the price.
part.
You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Once you gave it up to somebody,
it
starts circling around.
That is
And then when you try to start banging on the table saying I'm worth more, now you ain't.
No.
I think
100%.
one thing that I liked about their conversation was he was saying like her speaking out about it because some people, like he said, somebody might come in that room and think that's what you're supposed to do. They might not know no better. You know what I mean? They might come to the table and like, oh, well, maybe the other artist is doing this too and they don't know. So the fact that she said something, I feel like you said, there's people coming up behind you that are going to know like, oh, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the difference. That never happened before. And because that never happened before, women kept coming in the room making those assumptions. But because she's willing to speak up and she's willing to be the one to say the thing, now women behind her know, oh, wait. If one person said no before me, and that's the difference. And that's where I've always been that one that's like, I got questions.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? I'm willing to ask questions and I'm willing to be the fool. I'm willing to be the one that's like, well, we're not going to give it to you. And I'll be like, well, have a good day. Like, you know, like it's not based upon that.
Right.
And that's the key. Because somebody got to be willing to speak out.
Somebody
first,
gotta be willing.
especially
That's big.
as a woman.
And she said that, you know, of course, like the label will frown upon doing that. Like, I don't, bad business. Like, no, it's bad business for him to be trying me.
Yeah.
That should be the bad business.
That should be the bad
Not
business.
me saying something.
Right.
Well,
but when everything ran by men.
and if you listen to enough stories, they'll even tell you, it's so crazy, they'll send a woman to tell you that's what you should be doing. And if you don't
100%.
do it, it'll be like, well,
Every time.
such and such did it.
Every time.
And look where she's at.
Every
or
time.
such and such did it, and look where she's at. Do you want to be where she's at?
Every time.
Okay, well then I suggest that you get with the program.
How many high class men do you know, like in any industry, that has a male secretary
None.
or a male PA, like active PA? Like they'll have a male PA that's with them all the time, but the one that's going out sending the messages and doing the things.
I'm gonna stop you there. An attractive secretary. You don't be seeing no ugly. You don't see no ugly secretary with no successful person.
No.
Whether it be a publicist,
Yep.
whether it be a manager, whether it be a secretary, it's never unattractive.
That's true.
You know why? Because then you can go talk to the attractive girls that you're talking into doing the things.
That's true.
It's on purpose. Everything has purpose.
Not just that. I know it was on topic with that, but not just that. It's also just to attract other men too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? When it comes to like getting business done and shit, because you know if a man is
That's
going
true.
to act like he got more than he
Yeah.
does, he's going to act up just because she's pretty.
Right.
That's why I even see like
That is
escorts. You know, they don't have to do shit. They just got to show the fuck up. Just be cute. And it's like, okay, cool. You got this. You got her. You must know what the fuck you're doing. You must got some money. All right, I'll trust you.
Right. That's true.
That is
That's
true.
true.
That's
That's
true.
true.
Yep.
The image.
Right.
100%.
Because it is a representation of, well,
Right.
most people see it as a
It's
representation.
a representation. That's
So
why
that's
I like-
true.
That's
That's
like
true.
Same thing with like a trophy wife.
That's a good point.
You're not gonna get a trophy
100%.
wife if you broke.
That's true.
It's true.
How about the music? You guys are, as far as the women, are you guys liking this new women empowerment where multiple women are doing? There's not just the one rocking at one time. Kind of seems like, you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm glad to see it. I'm kind of glad to see that some of the comparison conversations are kind of dying down.
Yes.
Because at first it was really hard for people to accept the fact that there was more than one. Like you had to either like Meg or you had to like Cardi, or you had to like Cardi or you had to like Nicki. Like you could like everybody.
Now you can actually like have a favorite.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, not just like, oh, it's between
It's
this
only-
and it's like, oh, I like this
Yeah.
person because I like this person better than this person. Like, not like I have a favorite.
Right. Yeah.
I'm here for it. The music is good too. I mean,
music,
let's talk about
hey.
that. The music is good too. Cardi singing, I was like, okay, girl.
Okay, I was like, yes, auto tunes. Okay, I'm about that life. Like, and that's okay. That's not an insult coming from me. Like, I'm about that life. Like,
Okay.
guys use it all the time.
And do.
It is
Back
an
to it.
insult if you say it about a woman. But I am about that life. Yo, do your thing.
I'm gonna have to do some auto-tune on my shit.
I
I'm
love
saying.
I love Cardi. I love what
Cardi
she's
gives me
doing.
life.
I love whoever is behind Latto, and I'm not saying that she's not in charge of her decision making, but they are doing an amazing job. That album is, like I said, you guys already know how critical I am when it comes to music.
Yes.
And I played it. I didn't skip a track.
Yeah.
I can tell that she got a good team behind her.
Yeah. And you know what it is? I think 100% like I listened to like one track and it was a song. It wasn't even an interview or nothing. But as an artist, like someone who writes and someone who has been in that position, listening to one song that was not on an album, just a track that she released, I comprehended how coming in on a reality show and having things come around you to try to, when something tries to constrict you in a way that causes you to make a decision and you decide against the norm, you break all the modes when you break back in.
I'm sorry, who you're talking about? Cardi?
Latto. No, Latto.
Okay.
Latto.
Okay.
And where, I forgot. Yeah, right. Both of them.
Yeah.
But it's that thing, right? Where it's that thing where it's like, yo, you can break the mold in this place. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing like you think of like Will Smith, you think of all these people who came in as child stars. Or even like I think we've talked about like the Chris Brown, Rihanna thing. Like, it's like, if you do not shatter the image of who I was prior to this, like if you come in like this childlike place or this specific genre, the power of first mention is real.
Yes.
I don't care where you look at it. It can be anywhere from religion to schooling to whatever. If you do not shatter the image, think Miley Cyrus. Like, if she did not come in and shatter the image of what she was before, like, you had to obliterate it, or else she would have never moved past it. Chris Brown and Rihanna are also very good examples.
Perfect
of that.
example is Bow Wow.
Oh, 100%. Bow Wow. Who? Oh,
perfect example. I'm not too sure if you guys saw all the rants that he was going on over the weekend. Mm-hmm. That is a perfect example. He tried and tried. Mm-hmm. He just couldn't.
He tried to adjust his image and did not try to break
He tried to shatter it.
Where?
He tried to.
Where?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he
did.
No. I don't think he.
I said in his on his run, I feel like he tried to just kind of transition, and it didn't work.
No,
because
he tried,
did. But then now he is trying to shatter that image. But at that time, it was hard for him to go from little Bow Wow.
You just don't know,
you know. And then the other,
and then it was like Big Bow, and it's like nah.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. I think when he got with T.I. and did the Fresh as I Is and whatever, that's when I felt like he was trying to like,
he was.
All right, like, y'all niggas ain't taking me seriously, so let me.
But he needed to shatter it in a personal sense. Like, everybody else shattered it in their personal lives and brought it into their music.
Yeah, he
tried to change his music.
Tried to change the music.
But that's just like, especially in today's day and age, like, you can't do that.
See, and my thing with Bow Wow is like, bruh, you could have, and I know I don't understand what the anger towards JD is coming from, but maybe I don't know what it is. But, bruh, you were in the perfect position to be the new LL.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
all you did was just chick songs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And you could have still done the club songs or whatever, but LL for 20 years.
Still to this day, LL is an adjective.
Yes.
Like, he's an adjective to this day.
Like, and I mean, and people were trying to play with Bow Wow's name before because he did a versus with Soulja Boy. And I was like, yo, y'all play. Bow Wow got some hits.
He got some hits. He just be doing some goofy shit.
But that's what she's saying. Mm-hmm. He changed the music. Music was always was okay, but personally, you was a little questionable, bro.
Yeah.
And you was always doing some weird shit.
Yeah. Everybody forgot
and
about
that's
the whole
why people didn't respect
thing like that.
Oh,
also
that too. I forgot about that.
Wait, what?
Like,
I forgot about that.
See, that's what I'm saying.
What was that again?
Like, I don't remember. Like, he did some. Like, he was on that list of just weirdo rappers who was doing weirdo stuff with.
Because that was when it was like the thing to expose rappers that they were sleeping with.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the rappers that she was sleeping with. I think she posted like a picture of him in the bed or something.
Yeah,
I forgot.
it was
that
some
was
sex
so long
toys
ago.
Involved.
I don't know.
It was interesting.
Yeah.
It was intriguing, but
yeah, I think that's a good point, and I don't want to. And please do not take what I'm about to say the wrong way. But I think people would be foolish to think that what happened between Chris Brown and Rihanna did not benefit both of them in some shape, form, or fashion.
1,000%.
Meaning career-wise.
Yes.
Not personally, obviously.
Career-wise, yes.
For Rihanna, it helped her go from innocent to
good girl gone bad.
Yes.
Right.
And now I'm grown. Mm-hmm. And everybody was okay with it because you're like, okay, we see that you're personally transitioning and we feel bad because of what happened to you. Chris Brown, it obviously was a negative thing at one point in time. But I remember when Chris Brown was mad because The Dream gave bed to Jay Holiday instead of to Chris Brown. And then Chris Brown was mad. He was like, well, why didn't you give me bed? And The Dream said, because your label said that you're too young and that it would not be marketable for you to sing this song.
And then it was like 6 months later. And then
he did that song,
Take You Down?
Take You Down.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the
how long after everything that happened with him and Rihanna did Take You Down come out?
Yeah, I think it was around the same, pretty similar.
Rihanna?
Or maybe Take You Down came out and then Rihanna happened. That was like maybe 10 years.
I think it was before the Rihanna thing happened.
What album was that on?
It took
I would have to look at the timeline.
I gotta look at the timeline too. But
I think it wasn't in the second.
I think it was it the second album? I don't know why I feel like it was on the first, but I don't think it was.
Yeah, no.
It definitely wasn't on the first. Hell no. That was...
I just remember Chris Brown was hot.
Oh, 100%. Because he was the cute little singing to the teenage girls.
He wanted that out. He wanted that song.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Take You Down was on exclusive, and that was 07.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Very interesting when you kind of start to dissect some of this stuff. So, yeah. All right. So we're going to go ahead and get into some of these questions. I know your fans are probably going to be listening.
I'd rather we just stay on this. This is fun.
It was fun.
We don't have to talk about me.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Fine.
Yes, we do. Well, first of all, let's just get an update.
Okay.
Yeah, Take You Down came out, and then 2 years later was the Rihanna thing.
Ah, okay. And I remember Take You Down didn't do what it was supposed to do.
Huh?
Yeah. No, I didn't do what it's supposed to do.
No. Sure
Compare the numbers to Take You Down to Bed and Chris Brown.
Oh, yeah.
I think now
no disrespect.
I think when we look back on it,
it was
we were
good.
like, oh, that was a good song. But I think at the time,
I think songs could be good and like the community could like that. Don't mean they actually perform well though. So, and I don't think that song performed well.
and I think I remember Take You Down. It was kind of a mix. Like people were like, where did this come from?
Right. Like they was like,
Yeah.
can you go run it, sir?
For the one
I was in high school when it came out.
for the one like
You going from wall to wall to Take It Down.
that's what I'm saying. Like for us, the R&B era, I was cool with it because that was like the Trey songs, Jay Holiday, Dream, Lloyd. Like it was dope music. So I just liked the song.
Right.
But we were like, and I knew the backstory to Bed. So I'm like, all right, this is your makeup for Bed.
Right.
So I was, but the
Right.
general public were like, you went from Run It, or they said wall to wall to Take You Down.
Yeah.
And remember his audience and his
Right.
and his audience were younger high school girls.
Yeah. 100%.
And middle school high school girls. So it was like you trying to get into the grown market
Right.
with Take You Down. And that's not who his market was.
Right.
So that's why it was a little weird. Because usually you want to put a song out that is to your market. So he was trying to break into the grown.
But you know what? Recording.
But he was grown though.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Recording albums, you tend to be about 2 years behind.
Yes.
So like you could record an album and he could have been 16 where he recorded an album, but by the time it's coming out and they're ready to promote it, he 18.
Yeah.
He's like,
And plus he was doing grown man things.
Yeah.
He was on tour. Women were after him, so he wanted to
Take You Down.
he wanted to do a little striptease at his
shows, right?
And you can't be doing no striptease to Run It.
You what I'm about.
Or the excuse me, miss.
Right. That's
So
it.
done.
Like so done. I'm just having all the flashbacks because I just sent that song to one of my friends as a joke, and it was a recording of him at a concert doing that, and I was laughing so hard.
Like, how you gonna strip and crump at the same time?
Like at the same time, you cannot strip and crump at the same time.
hella aggressive.
Like you have to
Dog.
choose, sir.
That era was so crazy. I remember women were so mad when he after Stomp the Yard came out.
Bruh, everybody was so mad. It was like, oh, Chris Brown, that man, Chris Brown. 5 minutes in.
Died 5 minutes.
That
into
nigga
the
did
movie.
his dance, and I'm out.
That's it.
That was crazy. I've
disappointing.
never been that hoodwinked
Dog.
into going to see a movie.
Oh my
I
God.
was never a big like Chris Brown lover like that.
Nah,
so.
but I'm telling you, they was mad.
But my thing,
I know.
you
All my
what?
friends
See,
was mad.
It wasn't
I
like
was
about like
weak.
going to see Chris Brown, like, oh, he's so fine. It was like the dancing. Like, oh, Chris Brown could dance. You think you about to see him go crazy
That's
in this
true.
movie, and
You saw him
he
die.
died.
It was like
At the
and
beginning.
scene.
That was,
We gotta watch Columbus Short this whole movie.
Yeah.
Fuck your life.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
I was so upset.
Yeah.
We thought we was gonna get like, you got served too.
Yeah.
That's what we was thinking we was finna get.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dang.
You know?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
Damn, man.
You Got Served was good.
That was a
You know, the dancing movies back in the day was like when they first came out, that shit was cool.
It was
'cause
lit.
You
Yeah.
had Rise, you had Stump the Yard, you had Honey, you
Yeah.
had.
I went back and watched Honey and it was so cringe. I was like, why did I think this dancing was so clean? And
Hey,
it wasn't.
Hey, do that shit with any other movie that you thought was dope at the time. You'd be like, oh, this ain't it. Look at Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, that's true.
Look at Fast and the Furious. Like, oh, it's moving. They ain't going nowhere. They ain't going nowhere.
That's
Yeah,
true.
if you
they
go back
racing
and
going
watch the
80?
movies, dog,
They be trash.
they be trash.
Trash.
Yeah, no.
trash.
I went back and watched the old Jurassic Park. That was real life.
Ooh.
That's different.
That was real
No,
life.
that's
That's
different.
different.
Like that was
That's
real life. It's
different.
still
That's
good.
different.
Like
That's
I'm like, oh,
different.
nah, it
That's
still hit.
different.
It's
Now I'm
still
talking about
hits.
them cultural movies that
Right.
people like, oh, they was a shit.
Man,
Like
Save the Last Dance.
I was just about to say something
Yes.
Last Dance.
That used to be my movie. I went back and watched. I was like, yeah, no, this ain't it. This ain't it.
How long did you make it? Did you make it through the whole thing?
I did. I don't even think I made it I made it to when they was in the club. Remember when that first time she went to the club? And I was like, yeah, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah, a lot of those movies just don't have rewatch value. Like they have rewatch value in that time period.
Yeah, that's what
right?
it is.
But it's not like 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
Nah.
That's what you get when you making music according to what's popular, music, movies, anything.
Mm-hmm.
When you just feeding to to what's now instead of stuff that we watch that's
timeless.
Yeah.
Right. You just
There
ain't
was
got no
some for the
longevity.
time, and there's some that are timeless.
Some stuff just don't age well.
Like what's that movie, Nick Cannon? Love Don't Cost a Thing. Never watched that movie ever again.
I recently watched
Rest
it.
in peace.
It was on Netflix.
Yeah, I will never watch the movie ever again.
Damn.
And it was terrible.
It sucked. Tell me it didn't suck.
But Drumline.
Yeah,
that's a movie
Drumline.
you can still watch.
Drumline different.
You could probably find some stuff in there that's kind of like cringy, but the message in the movie
Only
is
like the
timeless.
pickup lines is like cringy, but the rest of the movie is actually pretty good.
And then trying to take Nick Cannon serious. I don't think I could take him
I don't think we took him serious then.
I know, but you know what I'm saying?
I was about to say, I'm sorry.
Did we
Did
take him
ever
seriously
take-
now?
Like,
I
I'm like,
can't
who
take
took
him
him?
serious and nothing.
No. Yeah, Nick Cannon.
Did he date Christina Milian at one point in time?
Yeah, that's how she got the part on the movie, I think.
Nick Cannon's a sniper on the low.
Like,
Low.
on the low. On the low to y'all.
Maybe to us.
I was like, Nick Cannon, he gives me every bit of I would never want to be in a room with him by myself.
Well, I think the proof is in the pudding.
I'm sensitive, so I'll be looking at dudes like, yeah, no.
Don't end up baby mama number 7.
No, oh, baby, look.
Is this
I ain't got no
I
kids.
don't know.
I ain't
I
got
lost
no,
count.
I'm like, I ain't got no kids now for a reason.
I don't know. I lost count.
I can smell fertility, so I run from dudes.
All right. So what you been up to, Stas?
Oh, nothing. Hiding from people.
Definitely been hiding. You've been doing a damn good job of
Thank
it.
you. I am the queen of it. No, honestly, I have been figuring out who I am. Like figuring out not just who I am, but who I want to be. Where you get to a point, like 23-year-old me, like people don't understand how shy I was. Like me even going through the audition, I had to be talked into it. Like another friend was going. Like when I tell you, even to this day, I talk to Spirit and I talk about how much I feel set up. Even in that point in my life where I was like, me today, she looks back at 23-year-old me and be like, yo, how did you let yourself get talked in this? I wouldn't change a thing, but it's just like my shy self. Like I'm very shy. I'm social. But I'm an introvert. I'm a social introvert, but I am very much an introvert. And going to the audition, and the only reason why I went through with it is because they were like, oh, if you're not auditioning, you can't come in. And my friend was like, don't leave me by myself. And my dad, like legit, it was on my dad's birthday. And my dad was like, he's like, yo, worst case scenario, you go, they don't pick you. Best case scenario, you go and we can like have videotape, and keep in mind this was back in the day. It was like, he's like, we can pop the DVD in and show your kids and laugh. Like, remember that one time?
Now look at you.
Right. I had never seen the show. Like I was that weirdo. Like I'm all the way through the audition process, and my friend was like, Alexis was like, you probably should watch this show.
Probably.
That's who you went with?
What? No, she said no.
Uh-oh.
Alexis talked me into it though. She was a big part of it, and I love you, Alexis, but girl, she was like, you should watch it because I had never seen.
Wow.
I had never watched the full episode of the show.
Wow.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, and still to this day, I don't watch reality TV. I didn't watch it.
I did
Like
before,
somebody-
but I stopped.
Like after the dating shows and shit, you know, you know those.
Yeah.
I just didn't give a damn.
Yeah.
I was like, nah. Like if somebody else will put it on, they're like, all right, I'm watching it with you, but I'm not gonna be like consciously like, oh, let me go and watch this shit.
Yeah.
I stayed the fucking away.
No, I was too busy.
I like cartoons
I had
and
3
movies.
jobs. I had 3 jobs when I went on Bad Girls Club.
Wow.
So
Sheesh.
yeah. Hey, I've had a job since I was 14 years old. Like, so doing TV or trying to get famous or whatever, that dream died when I was little. Like writing music. I've written music since I was 6, maybe. So going on TV to try to do reality TV shows, I never took that. Like you said, it was like dating shows was the only place where women were getting any play. And that was never my thing. Like I was never the girl that's like, I want to marry somebody rich and famous. Like I was like, please. I'm like, how can I get my own coin?
Okay.
Like, you know, like I've always been that though. So
It's crazy how much just the writer strike alone changed so much shit.
Yeah.
Like reality TV wasn't all that big until they had no choice but to go with everything being reality TV. And so now there was like, damn, reality TV is actually winning.
Right.
So it's like, let's do more of that shit.
Right.
You know? So it's just like, damn.
And now it's going back the other way. Have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Like now things are shifting back. But what had to happen for that to shift back? People had to be forced to live in their own reality so that then they can realize, I don't want to watch a whole bunch of other people fake drama.
Right.
And now it's going back into right. That's me. Like I watch nothing but drama on TV. Why? Because I try to keep as much drama out of my own life as possible. So I watch dramatic TV and then I go back to my life and everything's pretty much copacetic.
That's enough drama for me.
Right.
I don't need to go
I'm
look
good.
for it. It's on TV.
That's it.
I think a lot of the reality shows too just started to get repetitive.
Redundant as fuck.
You know?
Yeah.
It's the same shit. It's like nothing's like surprising.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just the same. It's the same thing, just different faces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Literally.
Yeah. But
I think
that's because they get caught up in the cycle. Like, oh, this is what's worked, so let's keep producing what's working.
What's working?
You
What
got all
people
these
watching?
Right. You got all these different flavors of cereal, but nigga, it's still cereal.
Right. It's still cereal. Like at some point, like, yo, the hour is full. Like, let's do something different. You
And
know?
people gonna start to want something different. Like,
But the want has to happen before the change.
exactly.
Well, you're right. The want does have to happen. However, you have to see the want that you want it before you can actually say you want it for the change to happen.
Somebody gotta give you something.
Right. The change has to the change has to be shown before you be like, oh, okay. And then there's more change.
But you got to be. But who? Like, let's think about it. We're talking mainstream. We're talking television, entertainment, whatever. No, like that's always been my biggest problem. And Rob can attest. Like I've always been 5 steps ahead of what's going on in the mainstream. So it's like even now, like some of the stuff, like my friends, like they joke because a lot of people who know me now know this version of me. There are people in my life who find out about television me and be like, what? And they like lose it. And then I'm like, I've never hidden any part of myself. But if you don't know or you don't ask, then you won't know. But like they'll listen to something, they be like, you need to like put this out right now because it's what's hot right now. And that's the story of my life. Like I'm always 5 steps ahead of everybody because I tend to pre-see what's going on.
Gotcha.
I tend to see what's going to be hot, what's going to be popular. And it's like, if they would have just held out, like, you know, if they would have just waited, like it's like Latto, like if Latto would have dropped when she came out of Jermaine Dupri's show, it would not have been the right time for her. She would have sizzled out and it wouldn't have been this thing.
Yeah,
and now she's leading the charge because she was willing to take a step and really cultivate what it was that she was.
Or if Love and Hip Hop, if Cardi B came out 10 years before she did.
Like when Nicki came out. Like if she would have dropped when Nicki came out, not when she did, then it would have been a whole different
I'm just
story.
saying the transition from reality TV to music. There may not have been a pipeline for that. You know what I mean? Like
No, may not. It wouldn't have been.
because the only person that somewhat did it that was ahead was the golly, what's the name of the song? Making the Band.
Oh yeah.
That was a kind of ahead because it was reality TV, but it was also then there was a physical item you can buy with it after the fact. Obviously, they didn't work out, but
Danity Kane, I think they had like 2 albums or whatever. But I think honestly, the issue with that is just what artists from Diddy
it's the
really
business.
they really last.
But
it was just the concept of we're pretty much going to try to put a band together and let's see how this shit goes behind the scenes and then just market that. So like let's make money off of all possible ways.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
And Day 26, like the music was
But Day
good.
26, the people still to this day look for Day 26 music. People to this day still look for Danny Kane, but nobody had the business mind to come out of that and create a career after that because
banking on that.
Because Puff, he was already thinking ahead of it already.
100%.
By
they
look,
so locked in. They came.
I'm gonna sell the
That's
show.
what I was gonna say.
I'm also gonna sell the music. And if the music pops off, you under contract. So if you pop off singly, you already signed.
Yeah.
Or if you pop off as a group, you already signed. So worst case scenario is I make money off the show.
Yeah.
If you flop, I still make money.
Yeah.
But if you do good, I'm gonna make more money.
Yeah.
So he was
360 deal.
you ain't gonna be able to get over on him.
Yeah.
But Love and Hip Hop, there is no Love and Hip Hop album. There is no Love and Hip Hop record label. Cardi B, the exposure that she got on that show helped people connect to her. Because back in the day, as an artist, you did not want nobody to know about your personal life. It was always this mysterious, like, Beyonce you didn't know anything about it. But into this day and age, they want the artist to be more personable, more connected. Yep. That's why social media is so big. So for you to be on television to see somebody see a perception of your life, then get connected to you, then you're like, okay, like, and I think even on the show, wasn't that one of her storylines? Her storyline was trying to make the album. Yeah. So it's like, now I see you going through the process of making the album or trying to make it into the music industry. So now I feel invested because I saw you starting out and now I see you where you're at. So that's why hers worked so good is because people were invested from the beginning.
Yeah. Hers worked so good because she didn't change up. Like, even as coming from somebody who never was into reality TV or whatever, but watching even like, just take it all the way back to like a YouTube guru, like somebody who did makeup, where it's like, if you coming in and you build your brand on drugstore makeup and stuff that you can get from everywhere, and the moment a big name wants to back you, you drop everything and become this different thing. And now it's like, the you people who, you lose your audience. But Cardi B, that's something that she didn't do. She held on to her brand. Like, it was like, no. She made her brand around who she is.
Yes.
And then she stuck with that. And even where it moved from fucking Hondas to Bentleys, she's still very much, I'm still Cardi B and I'm still me in a Bentley. It does not change anything. And that is where she is very much different than anybody else before her, because people elevate, like, it's like this idea of like, you move out the hood and you forget where you come from type of thing. And it's like, no, she's like, oh, don't get me wrong, I'm still ratchet. Right. And that's very much who I am. But how much money I make does not determine who I am. And that's what I love about her.
She said something to that extent where she was saying, like, I forgot what deal she got or what designer she was working with. And she was saying, like, people told me that how I am, I wouldn't be able to be in these rooms, and I'm here. Like, they told her that she would have to change how she talks, change how to be able to get in those rooms. So, I mean, I feel it and I respect it, because I say that all the time. Like, I gotta be me and I gotta do what feels right for me, because I don't want to go viral or build a platform on something that I'm not. And then I feel like that's why a lot of these creators be so depressed, because they've created this brand persona. And then it's like, I can't even be myself. Like, I have to, this is how everybody sees me. You feel so boxed in. I'm like, I ain't boxing myself in. It's me.
That part.
And if it don't pop, it don't pop. I gotta be true to myself.
I think that's what happened with Frank Ocean, because everybody loved him when he came out, right? And then when he dropped his most recent album, it wasn't the best that people were waiting for, because like, we all wanted something from Frank. We was looking for him. He kept talking about he's gonna drop hella later. And then it wasn't everybody's cup of tea. However, that's what Frank wanted to do.
In the beginning.
That's what he wanted to do. He did his own thing, and it wasn't really for us. It was for him, and we just chewed him up over it. You know what I mean? So it's like, why are we tripping off of what the creators want to create if it's not for us?
Because of the fact that you go back to that conversation we were having earlier about Rihanna and Chris Brown, Bow Wow. It's like, you create a fan base off what you put out first, the power of first mention. So you suck me in with what you got first. Like, you give me an appetizer, and then you want me to now, like, you giving me all, like, it's like giving me Chinese food, and then now all of a sudden you want me to just take a burrito. It's like, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, because this is your fan base. I think another artist that did that was Pink. Remember, she came out R&B, but that's not what she wanted to do. But that's what they wanted her to do, and that's how she could get the deal. And that's not what she wanted to do. And then she switched over to doing more
punk rock.
Exactly. But I mean, it worked for her. She was able to, but it works. But
it's the opposite, though. Like, it's easy to shift into a place when the genre is smaller. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To shift into a bigger genre versus you come into a smaller genre where it's like, the fan base is smaller, the fan base is way more specific, it's way more honed in, and then you want that honed in fan base. It's why it's easier to break. It's why it's easy for Nicki to go pop. it's easy for, it's easier to shift from a smaller fan base into a broader fan base than it is to shift from a, a broad to a smaller. It's like, not so much, because it's not as much room in the people who have been loyal and backing you and then they feel betrayed. And then you get, those tend to be people that be the loudest. They want to yell that they want the squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Right.
So, yeah, which sucks. It sucks, but I get it.
Yeah, it is.
Trust me, I get it more than most people.
Well, and I think you kind of said it before. That's one thing. Like when people ask me about you being on the show, I'm like, that's her. Mm-hmm. Yep. I was like, 10% of me. It may be cutted, it may be edited, it may be manipulated, but as far as what you were on the show, I was like, that's who she is.
Yes.
Like, so is she that crazy? I was like, she's not crazy.
Yeah, but I was like, you push the right buttons.
But that's what I'm saying. So you were saying like people look at you now and be like I see this Stasi and I see TV Stasi. Mm-hmm. So personally, obviously, I know you. But for the people that are out there, is there a difference between Stasi now and Stasi TV Stasi? Or just kind of explain that dynamic? Because I know you as introverted, quiet, state of myself.
And then I get in the booth and go hard and then come out and be like, was that okay? Like, he's like, you, wait, what did you say? It's funny, I'm remembering when I met Rob. And I used to mess with Rob all the time at work. And I used to get on his nerves. Because I'm me and I love an introvert. And so I know he's an introvert. So I would just say stuff and just be like, we're going to be friends, me and you. Because I knew. But it's that part of me that's like, I am all of this. I have the capacity to be whatever version of me I want to be. Mm-hmm. I am never fake. I just know how to show up. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like that. It's that ability to
code switch.
Yeah, and
it's not really code switch.
It's a lane of code switching, but in a way where it's like
chameleon.
Yes.
I'm sorry. There we go.
But I don't even want to say chameleon.
Well, it's the thing,
but I understand what you're trying to say. Right. I'm just saying because for the people listening, because when I hear chameleon or when I hear code switching,
it feels fake.
Yes,
it feels very.
But
fake.
It's not. It's just I think people, and I don't want to butt in, but I think people try to put you in a box.
100%.
And don't realize how complex human beings are.
100%.
Like, because there's as far as being an introvert, there'll be times where I'll go out and people are like, oh, I thought you were so quiet. I'm like, I can be.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, so why are you being so social? Because I can be.
Right.
I am capable, social and introverted in different times and different spaces depending on who I'm around. But for you to think that I'm introverted all the time is misguided.
Yes.
Because I can be different things at different times, 100%. But it doesn't make me fake. It just means I'm multi-layered.
Right.
And I think that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
And that's what she's trying to say. Yeah. There you go. I think that's a better word.
100%. Yes. And that's the difference where it's like everybody's like, oh, you're supposed to be a kitchen knife. No, baby, I'm a Swiss Army knife. Right. I show up as what I need to be for what it is that needs to show up. And it's interesting because even doing for the show, you do the in-person thing, everybody sitting around the table, and it was like 11 of us maybe sitting around a table, and everyone's just, they're all talking, which all these girls, they didn't all watch the show. They know what's going on. I'm the weirdo that don't know nothing. Mm-hmm. And all I know is to be me. I don't know what they're looking for, so I'm not editing myself in no way, shape, or form because I don't know what the point of it is. But when I get past the second in-person interview where they're actually interviewing you on camera and they call people, they're like, we need to call 3 people or whatever. When they called me and they were like, we have never had someone's ex, their best friend, and their dad all describe them the same exact way. Mm-hmm. Everyone's in, they were like, well, tell us about her. How is she? What kind of person is she? What would we expect? He was like, we've never had some, literally, these are the furthest away from, oh, your best friend, your ex-boyfriend, and your dad. These people should not say the same thing about you. And they all did. Because I'm very much myself. I am very much my whole self. What part of me you may get at a certain point may differ.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I'm very honest. Even when you don't want me to be, I'm blunt. even when you don't want me to be. It's layered. Like I've always been multi-layered. It just is what it is. There's no difference in the only difference is who I am today versus who I was then is I've went through healing. Like I've healed childhood trauma, and I've been able to face things and see things and heal the idea of me to myself. That's the only difference. I'm still very much me. 23-year-old me, she teaches me a lot of my capacity and my ability. Like, and I look to her for things that I would have never thought I was capable of. But because I was able to do that and I was able to compartmentalize and step into a place. I mean, like everybody's like, oh my God, I'm so glad you found God. I was like, oh honey, let me explain something about me. There was a rule about no books when we were filming, and they would bring me my Bible every morning while I was filming the show to let me read my Bible while I was in New Orleans. So I did not find God. Like it's because I never lost God. I read my Bible when I was filming BGC, and they recorded me a couple times. It just didn't make it didn't make the show because it didn't fit the narrative in which they were, they were producing for me. Which don't get me wrong, there's no hate. I love the producers. The producers were amazing to me. I mean, Oxygen still calls to this day. I chose to step out of the spotlight so I can decide who, if I ever presented again, who I wanted to present.
Right.
And so that when I did represent myself to whoever, I was a commodity and not just stepping into a place where it's like, oh, you have free reign to make me look like be like whoever you wanted me to be. I was going to Latto the game, right? Like, it's like, I'm going to make sure that when I step in, I get full control, and what it is that you present is 100% up to me.
Got you. Control your image.
Yeah, I control my narrative.
100%. I've always controlled my narrative though. And that's the part we don't comprehend. I controlled my narrative on Bad Girls Club. They could not present something to the world that I did not first give them. They can edit it down and make it look like whatever. But at the end of the day, some people go, oh my God, you're like, I wish they wouldn't have made you look like. I said, they couldn't make me look like anything. They could use what I gave them and edit it, but they couldn't make it look like something fake. Like, I mean, there's scenes where I wasn't even there that day, and yet I'm sitting somewhere, and it's like, but because I was sitting there, it is what it is. Like,
Right.
But that's what I be trying to tell people. Because people be like, oh, you twisted my words. I can't twist your words if you didn't say it.
You can't twist my words. Like, it's
Same
like
thing.
that.
I think same thing when on TV, they be like, oh, they made her look bad. You can only make somebody look bad. I mean, obviously you can manipulate and switch things, but what I'm saying is, if it's not on the tape, then they can't use it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So as I'm trying to get into my journalistic bag.
Yeah, I like it.
So I can't ask this question. I have to ask this question as far as my journalistic integrity.
You better.
Okay. So during the screening process, there's been a rumor going around that oxygen. Okay. I
already know.
I got to ask it because I got to ask
Go
it.
ahead.
There has been a rumor that they would, and I'm not, you just please correct me if what I'm saying is off or wrong.
Okay.
They would give a psychological test, and that they would pick those who they feel like were mentally vulnerable to take advantage of them on the show. Now, hold on. Now, if you can't answer it, because I know there's contracts and litigation, but...
Oh, baby, she out of contract.
Okay.
Speak on it. NBA shit.
Trust me, like, I didn't been in some meetings because I didn't say some stuff. But I told them, look, it is what it is. What you gonna do? What you gonna take? Like, it's like, I'm going to be me, and they knew that. Mentally vulnerable.
And when I say that, listen,
I know exactly what you mean.
But let me clear it up for the people listening.
Okay.
I'm not saying they picked all crazy women.
Right.
What I'm saying is they looked into their background and saw certain triggers that 100%. They can press on the show to get a reaction.
100%.
Okay.
I was a flight attendant for 7 years, which means, y'all done been to the airport. You know how security is. You got to go through all the things, which means I have FBI level clearance when it comes to my background checks,
right?
Yada, 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 yada. So they didn't ran fingerprints, footprints, toe prints, like DNA to make sure that because I don't have to go through security. Like I can walk through a back door of an airport and get on a plane, which means that we need to make sure that you are who you say you are.
Well, and after 9/11, obviously they had to go through extensive
100%. Like they create all the rules and regulations. The process to that process was simpler than the psychological testing that I went through. Yeah. And I make that joke and people don't comprehend. Like, no. Like, I'm serious. Like, I literally sat there and I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, the way my dyslexia is set up, the way I'm like, you want me to fill all this out by hand with a pen? Like, it was a whole, but it was all about like the psychological, and I'm talking about, what was your relationship with your mama like? Like, did your mama make you feel nurtured? Like, did your mama love on you enough? Like, it was like that. Like, we're trying to find triggers. Like, we're trying to figure out what'll really make you tick. Like, what, you know, like they cast the black girl who's, you know, who has a problem with the non-black girls dating the black man, and then they date then they get the non-black girl who only dates black men, and they put them both on the same show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what they're looking for.
Yeah, it's that you find
How can we create the most drama?
How can we put oil and water together? And it's more so the oil and the water, right? And then you find the ones who are hungry for the attention, that are hungry for
like a Judy.
Yeah, I love my Judy.
Yeah.
That's my baby. I love you, Judy.
But as you're talking, and there's no disrespect to her, but
no.
obviously...
Oxygen got some threats for me behind that one.
Yeah. Obviously, she was casted for a reason, and I'm
100%.
sure they saw the alcoholism in her background. And yeah, she was definitely center of attention, want to be on the camera all the time.
100%. 100%. Look.
Well, I think if anybody protected her or looked out for her the most on the show, it was you.
Yeah. And even after, like, there's like, look, I can tell you some stories, okay? Oxygen didn't call me like, look, you can't be you cannot call people threatening them like that. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't want calls from people I care about threatening to take their life because of some bull y'all done pulled. You know what I mean? Because y'all didn't put something in her head and then you take it from her and now her life is not worth it. Like, and now I'm stuck trying to hop on a plane because I'm on the phone with her mama, and I'm like, this ain't for play for me. Right. Y'all moving on. Y'all filming y'all next season. This is not for play. This is real life. And now I'm trying to hop on a plane on the phone with the girl mama, and she got a knife, and I was like, Oxygen will be Judy Network if this girl don't make it through tonight. Once I'm done. Because this is not okay. Because of the fact that stuff that was going on behind the scenes and requirements that y'all put on her, which let me know that y'all knew something wasn't. So therefore we're going to make sure we do this thing. But if it was worth that thing, then you should have removed her. Right. But because you were more worried about putting stuff on camera than you were about this person's livelihood and their mental state. And I have nothing, like, the producers on the show are amazing, but everybody has a job to do. And at the end of the day, when your job to do is way more important than the individuals that are doing the thing, then it's different. But I done got into some trouble. Like, they was like, look, you can go to jail for saying this to people. And I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Jail does not threaten me when it comes to someone's life and someone I care about. Like, I love Judy. Like, people, like, to this day, like, you know, they didn't put the show on Hulu, so I'm getting all the reiterations of me being a bully and this and that. I'm like, okay, you're welcome. Like, you know, like, it is what it is. Like, you know, if I gotta be Maui, then it is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, yo, I was me, and those girls were there 24 hours a day, and they all loved me, and it makes no sense to be, oh, I'm a bully and I'm a this, but then those girls be right in my bed, laid up under me, crying to me all their problems 20 seconds later, which should tell you missing something. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nobody looking that deep. Huh? Most of the people ain't looking that deep.
Well, you'll be surprised. Some people hit me up. And
no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but for the most part, when you're watching the show, you ain't looking to see, because like you said, like, and now people are looking in society's today's age. I didn't know it was back on Hulu. So all that bullying, all that stuff. People gonna be looking back on what was the standard then and looking at nowadays. And
cancel culture quick.
Yeah. Bullying and this and that. But you can't cancel nobody that's not on social media. Like, you ain't even on social media.
I'd never be on social media. Somebody was like, you're trending on Twitter. And I was like, what? I had to go look on my Twitter. And Twitter hit me up a long time ago. Like, people have been trying to break into your Twitter. We need to, because my Twitter is like, my social media is all verified. So they're like, we need new ID pictures and all that stuff.
People be big mad when they can't cancel somebody.
Yeah.
Like we always joke about on here about getting canceled. But I joke about it here because it's funny.
Yes.
If y'all wanted to cancel us, you can't cancel us because nobody owns us. We own ourselves.
Yeah.
We own the podcast. So I mean, you could write a letter to YouTube, you could write a letter to whoever hosts it. But the bottom line is, if we wanted to put out the content, we could find a way to put out the content.
100%.
But if somebody owned us, then yes, you could write a letter to them. Then it comes down to
you're gonna write letters to us.
Right. Like, you need to cancel yourself.
No.
But this is the same conversation we had back doing music. Like, we had this same conversation around music and all
when
that.
You
like,
own
when
your
you
content,
own
you can't bully me. No. And I can be authentically me without having to get pressure from somebody that writes my checks.
I can do what I want.
Right.
So
But that's only if you hired me and not a persona.
Yeah.
If you hired a persona, then you can require that
true.
persona shifts. But if you hired me, then you get me authentically my whole self.
Yes.
And that's the difference between me and most people, where I'm like, no, you get whatever. And whether or not I wanted those Bad Girls Club checks or not.
You finna get this photo B
And
experience.
but what she's saying is so profound because who was it? I think it was Will Smith that talked about building a persona that wasn't him. Didn't he?
Yeah.
And then I think in his book or whatever, or when he was on the Red Table Talks and all those interviews, and he was saying that he was trying to be what everybody wanted him to be.
Yeah.
And then he had to realize that he had to be him.
Yeah.
And it's just this duality that we live in this society where even on social media, I'm only posting what I want people to see. I'm only posting the good. I'm only posting the trips. I'm only posting the job promotions, but I'm not posting the other
highlight
stuff.
reel.
And it's like, and then when people get a perception of you, it's like they're only getting to see the best of what you present. And then they don't really get a good idea sometimes of who you are. Some people are authentic on social media. I think again, social media is a tool, but there's too many people that live in a duality of the perfect version of who I want to be and who I actually am.
And when the gap gets too big, then that's when you start losing yourself, because the gap between who you present and the gap between who you actually are, when that gap begins to grow, people lose in the middle.
Well, even I think the pandemic definitely exposed a lot of that, because you have to then face who you're with. And who you are. And I think the conversation is similar to what's going on with inflation right now.
Yes.
If you have been living off of borrowed money for so long,
come on, Rob.
And then one day, whoever you owe is going to come knocking at your door saying, all right, you've been living in all these nice houses, you got the nice car, but the bill is due. And then at that point, you're going to have to ante up and say, look, either I get rid of the stuff that I was showing everybody and living off of what I can actually afford, or I'm gonna have to keep borrowing money and keeping this facade up, and
you become a slave to that.
And I think when these people, and I'm not saying that it's all the people that are committing suicide and depression, but it does play a major factor into
100%.
it. When the person that you are catches up to the person that you want to be, or you've been showing, then there is some conflict.
Yeah, somebody got to die.
Somebody got to go.
Yeah. It's like,
one or the other. So
like, your ego gonna have to die, boo. And
the
persona that you left with, are you okay with that? That's
and most times it's violent. So that's why anybody ever asked me about you, I would tell them, I said, she authentically on the show is what you get off the show. On camera is what you get off of camera.
Yeah.
So I wanna end this, but get on to where you are at now, because I know that you're in a much more positive space.
Oh yeah.
And we, obviously talk about a lot of mental health here and just healing and journey. So I know that you're saying that your, I don't say silence, but your absence has been because you've been working on yourself and healing. So I want to just give you the opportunity to talk about that, because obviously you have a lot of influence, And there are a lot of
that always shocks me when people say that.
What you do. So I just want to give you the floor to just talk about that journey and where you've been and where you are now, and just the importance of just doing the work.
It's funny. As soon as you said that, it reminded me of the very first TikTok I posted. I said, silence isn't always due to a lack of action. Sometimes it is, in fact, proof that intent and intentional action is what's taking place. You've never seen a sprinter doing an interview in the middle of a race. Why? Because I'm busy.
Right.
And taking time out to post or to present something postable is what it takes way too much time and effort, especially because of the fact, and this is not just like, as a woman, I can only speak from a feminine place. As women, we are always taught to put the best face forward, to present properly. Like, it's not even like, you don't even let people come over without letting you know first. Why? Because you need to, let me make sure that my house look like how I want it to look like before I let you in.
Right.
And that is when you're constantly being pumped that information. Even though I've never really lived in that place per se, it's always been this thing. And I've taken it in and you can only get rid of it as much as so much.
Right.
Because I mean, even doing the show, my dad used to be like, did you was wearing that? You took that nightgown with you? Like, he still to this day teases me about wearing my nightgown. He used to say, don't laugh. I'm serious. I just threw my nightgown away the other day. I was like, dang, I didn't want to throw it, but I kept wearing it. And I'm like, this still my favorite. But he'd be like, you did not wear that nightgown. I was like, what do you mean? He was like, you knew they was recording you? And I'm like, the cameras become furniture at some point. But that's where you got to get to. You got to get to the point where the cameras become furniture and it's no longer me living for the cameras.
Right.
It's just you doing you. And pulling away from social media was easy because even when I was doing social media a lot, I had an assistant. Like, she was the one on it. She was the one taking the take the pictures, post the things, do the things, except for when I was posting what I was actively doing. Like, if I'm actively on a health journey, I'm sharing. If I'm actively doing a thing, then I'm willing to share that or share my process, mainly because I was a verbal processor. So it was easy to just get on there and verbally process. But more so now, I am stepping into this place of sharing simply because I want people to feel safe to be in process. I want people to feel safe being like, yo, yep, that's laundry on my bed. It's been sitting there for a week and I sleep in this little corner. Like, it's fine. Like, because that is real life. Like, you know what I mean? That's normal. And we've created this idea where everything got to look like Hallmark or like what is, and it's like, yo, the aesthetic of things. And guess what? The aesthetic of my life is process. Like, girl, look, the way this brain is set up, like, stepping into this place of realizing that there is no mental disability that anybody can tell me about me that I have not already lived with and felt bad about my whole life. And now you're giving me like, oh, wait, so I'm not stupid. My brain works different. Cool. Now I'm going to go, well, how does my brain naturally work? Versus this idea of going, oh, well, I have this, so you need to treat me different. No. That turns it into an excuse and not a reason. I comprehend the reasons why I work the way I work and don't make them into excuses and go, oh, okay, cool. I sit in a place where, because of this is how my brain functions, this is how I process. And my friends always be like, how did you see it that way? And I'm like, it's just the way my brain works. And it's special and it's different and it's a superpower. And because of that, I function better when things look like how my brain look like. And to neurotypicals, it looks like chaos. But to me, it looks perfectly normal. And stepping to that place with spirit and spirit being like, you got to present this because there's so many people who can benefit from from seeing that there's nothing wrong with being in process. Like, process is a lifelong journey. If you are not in process, then you're not breathing.
No, that's
because there's no point.
That's facts.
People always think it's a destination, like, and I feel like we live in that destination mindset. Like, once I do this, then I'll be good. Or, like you're always gonna be in the process of doing something else or trying to elevate or whatever. Like there is no destination. You just gotta be okay with, like you said, being in process because you always will be. Or you'll never be happy.
Right.
You'll never be happy.
Yeah, it never stops. It's a constant. What else can I do?
Right.
What more can I do?
Next?
Am I going to do this for the rest of my life? Is this what I'm deciding on? I don't think so. This is it's constantly changing, and we have no idea what the hell's going to happen.
No.
You know what I mean? We don't have no idea what's going to happen in the next hour.
No.
We can plan it. We can, have an expectation, but that expectation isn't always met.
Right.
But if you root it to your expectation, then that's why life has control over you. And that's why everything that happens that doesn't fit into your expectation has the control to throw you through a loop. And now you are without an anchor.
That's why you appreciate the shit that you had and the shit that you have.
Yeah. And where you are going or the possibility of where it's going. Like I tell people, life is like a road trip, right?
I think I'm going to say it's about a box of chocolate because you never know.
Yeah, I look.
That one.
No.
This guy's funny.
Almost kind of, but not really. You definitely never know what you're going to get. But the only difference, like when you're on a road trip, is just like, it's like getting mad when you hit a pothole. It's like, no, you prepare yourself to know that you don't pave the road yourself. You tune up your car, you take great care of it. You decide who can get in that thing and who can ride with you. You can decide what music you playing. You can decide all those things, which means I'm in control of me. I cannot control how you respond to me. I cannot control how you receive me, but I can control me. And I can't even control what you do to me, but I can control how I react to that. Meaning if I get a flat tire, it's up to me to have a good spare in the trunk and great insurance to replace that.
Ooh.
Right?
I got to get in the right lane. Sorry if you're in my way.
Right. Like it's that thing. And that's where you move into that place and you start thinking about like even spirituality, like changing the way I look at God and spirituality. I'm like, yo, it's MapQuest versus GPS. Like, it's like, my spirituality is more like GPS where, I am more in fear of standing still than I am making the wrong turn because I trust my recalculation process. I trust the fact that I can make a wrong turn right for me. Like you ain't never got off the freeway in the wrong place and was like, oh, is that a Starbucks? Like, Shama. Like, that's the key.
No, for
This
real.
is a good damn. Look, so
That's real.
because
Intuition and shit.
well, but it depends on your mentality and how you look at things, right?
Yeah.
So you can look at a wrong turn as something that's bad, but there's been times where I took in a wrong turn and found something along the way that I'm like, I didn't know this was here.
Right.
Like I found a restaurant or I found like a scenic route or something.
Yes.
I'm like, damn, like this is dope. Like I accidentally found something that. So it's like
Accident.
you have to be.
Whose accident? Yours?
What to me, it's obviously accidental. But what I'm saying is that even in your mistakes,
There's something
something that you can learn or something good from it. And I think there's 4 stages in life. You can either be going backwards, you could be stagnant, you could be learning, or you could master something.
Yes.
And you are always in one of those 4.
Yes.
If you're not learning something, then master it.
What was this for? Say it again.
Backwards, stagnant, learning, mastery.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they are good at what they do, but they don't perfect their craft or try to master it. Or they could be stagnant where they're not moving forward and not doing anything. Or you could be moving backwards.
Yeah. I like it.
So, I think that analogy of the road and the direction, I think is spot on.
I'm learning.
I love that.
I'm in my learning. I'm in the learning right now.
And that's the key. Like, that's why I tell people, I'm a firm believer there is no such thing as a wrong choice. And when I say that, I'm talking individual. I'm not talking about my perspective of your choices. I'm talking about your choices. When you sit in a place and you want to make a decision, whatever that decision is, if it's like you got a choice between 2 girls and you want to decide which one to go with, you're going to make I know things. Like you're going to make the right choice for you right now. Like you're going to make that perfect choice because you're going to weigh everything you have. You're going to weigh everything you know, and you're going to weigh everything you think you need. Right. And even if 2 years from now you says you made the wrong choice, no, he don't get to do that because you today made the right choice for you today because that choice taught you something about what you were missing to get you to you 2 years from now. And that is where it's like when you look back and you look at yourself and go, you can say, ooh, me today wouldn't have made that choice. But then if the mastery of looking at the difference between having to relearn why you made that choice, and mastering that you made that choice is looking back and go, that version of me made that choice for a reason. What was he lacking, and what did he gain from making that choice?
Right.
Because 10 years ago, me decided to do Bad Girls Club. 34-year-old me, she would like, I'll be looking back and I'll be like, 20. If I was 23 again, hell yeah. Now everybody's like, oh, you need, like, they're doing, I don't know, some show.
We gonna talk
don't quote
about
me.
it. We gonna talk about
But if they're like, oh, everybody like trending. Oh, you need to do it. With 34-year-old me, how much coin on the table?
That's a question, though.
I ain't gonna say no.
How much editing power do I have?
Yes, different. You have different perspective. You have more information.
I have more questions.
Yes.
Like I'm all about that. So it's just like the questions that I would ask now versus then, like it's different. Where it's like, oh, what do you have to lose? Oh, you're 23.
What, 23? You're a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still a kid now. I'm living to be 120. So I got time.
But we had that conversation.
Yeah.
There was a finance conversation where we were talking about just your brain developing. And I think it's 25 or 26 that your brain is not fully developed.
Yeah.
So your decisions at 23, even that, your brain is still growing,
100%.
learning, whatever. So it's like you cannot beat up yourself over a decision that you made in the past, because like you said, at the time you made the best decision with the information that you had.
Period.
Now you can learn from your decision. You can maybe say, okay, I would have made a better decision if I'd known the information, but you didn't know the information.
Yeah. Right. So even saying I would have made a better decision, like there is no better decision to make. You made the best decision you could with the information you knew. It's like testing your class the first day of class so that you can know what to teach them throughout the year, right? It's like, no. That test was intended not to test you to say whether or not you passed or failed, but to test you to see exactly where you are so we can see where to move
And
forward
what you
to.
know.
Yeah.
The only time I would say that maybe that it is a bad decision is if you made a decision without getting information.
Oh, 100%.
Because there's times where you kind of just rush to a decision, but even in that you learned
That
I need to
do
be
this.
patient.
Yep.
And I need to maybe sit back and weigh out my options before jumping and making a decision.
Yep. You
And-
learn something about yourself.
Yes. And since we're talking about learning, he wants a polygamous relationship. That's why he was laughing when you said to choosing the right girl.
Oh, okay.
The two girls, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what makes you like? What about polygamy makes you excited or think that that's the right choice?
Just the concept of being able to create a village.
They both started laughing. I couldn't hear nothing.
I'm sorry.
I should have known about
Steph
that.
gave me a look. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry.
Yo, look, Rob ain't got no.
Steph,
Rob has no chill.
I
Okay,
tried to hold it in.
he has no
Steph's
chill.
fault.
It was Steph. Steph gave me the look.
Steph's fault.
Whatever. See this? I told myself, I said, don't look at nobody.
You still looked at Rob, but see, Rob was looking at you like
He was waiting.
you drawed her.
was waiting.
You drawed
He
her.
was waiting for me.
It's the chemistry. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Photo.
I won't laugh no more. I'm sorry.
Poor Rob. It's okay.
A lot of it comes down to the concept of building a village.
Okay.
Understanding that there's a lot of energy out there. I give a lot of energy. I can receive a lot of energy, and I understand what it means to be a proper man. And
You're a Scorpio ascendant? Your ascendant is in Scorpio or your moon?
No, yeah, my ascending.
Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. And plus, I was, a few people told me that I'll be good at it. I think they just want to be in it.
Don't look at me. If y'all look at me, I start laughing.
Look. It's the kikis in the background for me.
Hey, one of these days
You would be good at it. You would be good
One
at
of these days, you're gonna see me on a date with two girls at the same time.
it. I think that what you're saying is absolutely correct. I think we will.
Polygamous B.
Polygamous B. Yeah.
Well, then I'm just not even gonna say what I was gonna say. I'm like, they know you better than
What
my
you gonna
little
say?
3 cents.
This has been a conversation. This has been an ongoing conversation for like 2 seasons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've watched a few episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I've not watched all of them, but I can only speak for me and my whole self and what I know about me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a lot, and I know I'm a lot. And the more I heal and the more I learn about myself, I realize how much of a lot I am. And I get that concept. Like I said, when you realize, when you learn yourself, you comprehend something different. And I think that part of the issue is that you're a gallon and you keep dating cups. You need to find a gallon.
Damn.
So
Damn.
I'm serious. Like there's a woman that there's a it's the bing bong for me. Like, but you just need to find someone who carries and can carry what you carry and can take it and like where it's a reciprocal thing. You'll always feel like you need two women when all they bring in is a cup. Like that's just it's just the way that it operates.
She had to break it down like that. Damn.
I'm sorry.
I need the Kevin Hart.
That's what I'm thinking. He's like, damn.
This is a Tuesday.
good.
This is what happens. Like I tell you,
Said you a gallon, you keep dating cups.
Sheesh.
That's a clip.
Sheesh. I'm sorry. But no, like, yeah. So that
The
makes
truth
perfect
hits. That shit hit different.
That's different. That's different.
Yeah, no. And I think she's out there. You just gotta
That's what I mean. Right now, I'm really, really patient. You know what I mean? I'm not really.
You know what it is? You learn yourself in sections. So you date according to the section you're in. So you find a woman and you date that section of you and you get to know that and you're like, oh, but she's not all of me.
Well, at this particular moment, I'm just really not in a relationship ready state. There's a few things that I have to handle. Essentially, I want to be able to first live on my own, live by myself, no roommates, just me in my own space. Before I decide I want to start a relationship, because I want to know how I'm going to move by myself. Then I can figure out what it is that I need and what I want in a woman, as well as what is it I can actually really provide. You know, I can't do that while I'm already trying to provide for somebody else and then try to do that. You know, I don't know what I'm bringing in. I don't want to learn in the relationship.
Yeah,
I want to be able to come with my table.
Come home.
And that's fair. That's fair. And I think more people should do that before getting in relationships.
Yeah, we talk about that.
Yeah.
And you're still gonna learn some things, but if you know for a fact there's some things that you need to learn and work through, do it first.
Because unfortunately, most people learn that while they're in the relationship.
Right.
And it's like, nah, you need to learn that before you get in a relationship, because then your choice of who you're in a relationship may change based on the information you got. So.
Exactly, because you don't want to get in a relationship with somebody and you realize that that's not what you need too fucking late.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been single for almost 4 years at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm good.
I will say this, as far as, even though we joke about the multiple women or whatever, as far as how you're doing it, that's the way I would advise anybody to do it. That you're intentional about learning yourself, getting yourself situated, so that way you have things to provide once you are in a committed relationship.
Exactly. Some people just consider it as being for the streets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so you just out here for the streets?
No.
Why you looking all at me like that?
Why am I looking at you like that? Why am I looking at you like that?
Are you for the streets?
No, she for the streets.
Oh, I'm like,
no, but I'll be saying he for the streets. But when you said, why you wasn't in a relationship, I was about to say, because it's finna be summertime. That's why you.
He's like, because I'm this six pack. Okay?
There's some. Oh no! I ain't got no six pack, but they still love me out here.
I
do.
so thinking that in my head like
I'm big, so
I'm not about to play with
as
you.
long as I'm a big nigga, it's always big nigga season.
It is.
You feel? Yeah.
All right.
He
So
said it is. Right.
look, let me give you just dropping Jen. We're gonna give you a round of applause, Stasi. That was probably one of the better interviews that we've had. I'm definitely gonna go back and listen to this episode multiple times.
Oh, thank you.
So if y'all listening to this, if y'all loved it, please comment, like, subscribe, all that jazz. I want to get on to keeping it real. So Stasi's the guest, so we're going to explain that. So that is where we take a video clip or a reel from social media, and then we watch it, and then we react to the clip. Okay?
We ready?
Yes. So this is a clip from Bad Boys LA, which is, I guess, a spinoff of Bad Girls Club.
Jesus.
Essentially, yeah.
Fix it.
And I guess Natalie Nunn is the executive producer or created the show. Okay.
Yep. Linked up with Zeus and.
Oh, I need to go to the
That's
bathroom.
right. It's on Zeus.
I need to go to the bathroom for this.
We got this just for you, Styles.
I bet you did. I'm not saved enough for this.
You be all right.
Okay, so you guys are going to direct over here.
All right.
Leg wrapped around shit. Can you see?
You light skin, you not see through.
I'm done.
I'm gonna stop giving you a hard time.
Keep it up. It's fun.
I know.
Keep it like this.
It's that Scorpio. You can handle it.
Hey.
I sit right.
Really hopped in there
and fought Dylan and William. Scratches everywhere. Dylan got a scratch on his face. William looked like he crying on the inside behind all that makeup. It was crazy.
This has to stop.
Disrespect the Queen House.
Like, you guys, stop. Like, stop. Like, stop. Take his cup.
I just want to get in my next because I had.
Take his cup. Give up the cup. Judy. Like, for real. Stop.
Give it up.
Like, we're done. Relax. Like, you guys are gonna have so much shit we're turning up for the next few weeks. Like, dope-ass shit we have going on. Like, y'all can have beef in the house over, like, whatever, but this is dumb. The fuck y'all doing?
Now it's hollering like, oh, she's upset, she's da-da-da-da-da. How you gonna be upset with me when you did the same thing? This your show, and you basically made a show for stuff that you did.
Yeah. I agree.
Whoa. All right, so that was a
yeah.
that was a trailer or a little clip from Bad Boys LA. So we're gonna let the guests go first and react.
Don't let me go first because I got way too much to say.
That's why you're going first.
You might say everything for us. Save some time.
If I'm honest, I don't disagree with what the guy was saying. It's one thing to be the talent. It's something completely different to be the executive producer. And if you step into an executive producer place from a talent spot, you will always cast based off of what you want for TV, but then be mad when you got to put on the hat of executive producer. And that's what it seems like is going on, where it's like you're casting for TV without comprehending what's necessary, especially when it's different. I am very much a feminist in the state that a woman should be able to choose whatever she wants. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to comprehension of the difference between masculine and feminine beings, I am very much understanding of what that means. I don't care how much feminine energy you carry. If your genitalia presents as male, you function different in the 3D. And that's just what it is. And when it comes to creating a television show like this, you shouldn't. It's just not the same thing. It's why you can have 1 or 2 security guards with 8 women. You can't have 1 or 2 security guards when it comes to 8 to 9 men, because there are some times where you need 2 men per person, and it just functions different. I don't even when it's like, oh, well, they gay. That does not I do not care. It does not change their physical physique. Because I have seen gay guys. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
punch somebody out 2 times their size, and because at the end of the day, the way the testosterone pumps through your body is different than when you are a woman. Like, you're different. That womb changes your ability in 3D.
Right.
So I don't like it. I don't think that it is a good idea because of all of the background and all the things behind it. Not to mention, women are a lot less physical. Like, as much as it's like, oh, Bad Girls Club, like, women still tend to put up with a lot more yakety yak, chatty chat, like that type of stuff than men will. And I don't see this going well at all, especially just based off the 2 seconds I've seen, because you have a lot more where he said, I came because clearly you're a fan of Bad Girls Club. This is what y'all did, and I showed up to do what y'all did. But you can't show up to do what we did because you're not a girl, and the way it looks is different. So
interesting.
Yeah, if they do the process the same way that they did Bad Girls Club, it's going to cause a lot more. Because I mean, just the other videos and clips that I've seen, like their fighting was. It wasn't no Bad Girls Club fighting.
No,
it was
grown men fighting,
fighting like on some real shit.
Yeah.
And then you got so many different elements inside that house, because you got straight men, you got bi men, you have gay men, all within there. Yeah. So you're gonna have those people who are going to have conflict.
Yes.
There's going to be that conflict.
It's like what she said, oil and water. How they cast it that way on purpose.
Exactly.
100%. But that speaks to why some, like, I did season 7. I don't even know the last season they did. What was the last one they did?
I don't know.
Man.
They had hell of seasons.
Yeah, like, I know there was at least another 7. Yeah, I know there was at least another 7 seasons maybe after me. There's a reason why a large network did not take on the idea, because even when I did it, fans nonstop. That was the first thing that they talked about. Oh, if they ever did a boy one, I'm going to do it. So if I know I did season 7 and they were already talking about it, I know they've been talking about it the whole time before I was on the show. There's a reason why they never picked it up. There's a reason, because they got backing. Like, you know what I mean? They got lawyers and they got all kind of stuff that they got. They like, nah, we ain't playing them games.
Right.
Because it's not the same thing. You can grab a girl, like one girl up.
Right.
And, you know, women, as much as it's like, we'll fight, but they ain't about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to your point, there was a clip running around, I guess it's like leaked footage, where there's a guy that has a folded chair and is like swinging it at one of the guys and like hits him in the back of it. It's like WWF.
Yes.
He was hurt. I saw that. He was hurt.
Yeah.
Because I think he hit like his arm, but like that sound he made after it hit his back, I was like, damn.
Right. He was like, ooh, hospital, somebody going.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
So,
different.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see the dynamics. They're doing the gay, like, I guess there's a gay side versus the straight side. Kirk Franklin's son is there, and they definitely asked him about the relationship between him and his dad. So they're, you know, you already see the storylines starting to line up.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, it seems, and that's why I asked that question before about, because some people see it as predatory, like that they're picking, you know.
Oh,
but I mean,
100%.
obviously you have to sign up for it too.
Yeah.
And like some of those people are like the internet sensation guys, like the guy that
Where the money resides.
Money resides.
Money
And there's
resides.
some other
then you got the
Andre
Ain't No
Caldwell
More.
was on there.
The dude
was
that
on there.
swung
Yeah.
the chair, I think he's like a makeup artist or something, like a
Yeah.
big makeup artist in the industry.
So they feeding on people who have a little bit of like already have a little audience, but are seeking bigger platforms. Yeah,
Their 15 minutes is almost up.
and
they're trying to extend
capitalize on it.
And and they're trying to go to Cardi B route, thinking that if I'm on reality TV, then my brand can expand and I can get more.
Only if you represent your brand the way you want your brand to be represented. But if you go on there and you just think by
That's messy drama,
don't nobody want to deal
Some
with
people
that.
have that mindset like, I just need to go viral. If I go viral. But what do you want to go viral for?
Right.
Because it might not, if it don't align with your brand or what you want to do, it does you no good.
And what happens after you go?
If I go viral doing a TikTok dance and I'm not a TikTok dancer,
Then
the
ain't
people
nobody
that
gonna-
are coming to my page are coming for that.
Yep.
And that's not what I do.
and you have to keep on dancing.
Yeah.
You know?
You're gonna be little Bow Wow. You know?
Just don't know.
You just
Well, but it's what you guys are saying, because for creators, God, man, y'all need to listen to this conversation, because Bobby Smurder just got released from his record label. Well, he said he signed his release papers, so we don't know if it was on his side of it or if it. But what you got famous for, you have to replicate it.
Yeah.
We don't allow you to grow. Some artists we can do. But those artists are the bigger artists that have the backing, that have the resources to do it. So they have more time.
Yeah.
Chris Brown will always have more time.
Yeah.
R.
Because he's
Kelly
Chris Brown.
will always have more time.
Yes.
Jay-Z, Beyonce, Rihanna will always have more time.
But they were already adjectives before they shifted. Like, it's
And
like
they have
you
the
have to,
resources.
yes, you have to have the backing and you have to have the stake.
But Bobby Smurder, we needed another hot nigga. You haven't been able to produce it. So guess what?
You can't be gone as long as you were.
You got dropped.
Yeah.
You have to keep producing what you started. And what you said before is first impression is everything.
Yeah.
It's important. How you introduce yourself is what we expect from you.
100%.
Yep.
And that's the key.
That's facts.
And that's why you have the one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
You have the Jaquans and all these other people where it's that one song. It's like, all right, nigga, do it again.
Right. Yeah. Show me what you work
And
with.
especially now, because our time, what would you say? Our
attention span.
Our attention span is so short.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if y'all been seeing how long songs have been. They getting shorter and shorter.
Shit, I seen one.
Niggas ain't even doing.
I know. I was like, is this the whole song? Like, I listened to it
That
twice.
OC
Like,
Genesis, I look good. A minute and 40
Niggas ain't even doing albums. They're doing EPs now.
Yeah.
that's crazy.
Or now they're not even doing EPs. They're doing singles now because they're like, I'm not going to do a 20-song album because
I
you're
wanna
going to
drop
listen to it
something.
maybe
Well,
one
except
time.
Chris Brown. That nigga go get
Well, see,
He
but
gonna give you
because
two
they have
albums in
because they have an audience.
Yeah, because
He gonna
Chris
get
Brown
40
is Chris
songs
Brown.
for sure.
Yeah, but Chris Brown is Chris Brown.
He can do
and
that.
you gonna do that.
and niggas listen to every single song on there.
Exactly.
There are
Well,
still,
not me.
there are
I'm
still
talking about
songs
other
on
people.
other albums I haven't heard. I was like, oh shit, it's on this album?
I don't think I've listened to a whole album since Confessions. Like, I'm like, ooh, Usher's is probably the last one. Got it. No, I'm lying. Trey Songz. I listen to every song on Trey Songz. He said, "Shut up."
No. I know because I'm saying exactly because I knew how much you love Straight Songs.
Oh, yeah.
You still love Straight Songs. So.
I love Trigger. Trey
But yeah,
Songz is extra.
Before we get to the internet wins again, we're gonna take just a quick break. I know people gotta use the bathroom whenever. Just give us one. Actually, no, we good. We gonna keep on rocking. Yeah. We gonna keep on rocking.
It's fine. I'll just pee on your floor. It's fine.
You have to use the bathroom?
No.
You gotta take a break to go use the bathroom.
I was like, do I gotta? Like, you better open your cup.
The joke comes back around.
I'm
You were telling him that he needs a gallon, not a cup. That he tells you need a cup.
You need a gallon.
Well, I need you to open your gallon. I'll give you this cup. Okay?
You gotta go. You wanna go?
No, if anybody else got to stop, I'm good.
All right, then we're gonna keep rocking.
Yeah, let's do it.
We rocking.
All right, so we got all the fun stuff out the way. We got to actually talk. Well, actually, we're talking about some serious stuff too.
Yeah.
Steph, you gonna have to take the lead on this one. Because I don't know. I know some of it, but I don't know all of it. All right, internet wins again. I ain't gonna do the horn today. We're gonna just get right on to it. Where we talk about the hottest internet topics. Now, this topic is actually like maybe a week or two old, but it flew under the radar and it's so important that we did not get a chance to talk about it because we had the All Fellas podcast. But we're gonna talk about it today because it's probably gonna resurface at some point in time. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna get this over to Steph.net because I know very little about it. Or at least I think I do. Because I know you said there was new information. So we're going to talk about Royce Reed and I guess her son.
Yeah. So basically, her son had an incident where he had inappropriately touched another child. And out of that, there was a court order that said that he could not be with or around alone with children 2 years younger than him. Right. And he was going through treatment, and in his treatment he confessed that he had had Royce's boyfriend's son touch him inappropriately. Right. Because he was mad. That's what he said. And once that came out to the counselor reported it, and then Royce was then arrested for child neglect because of the court order that was already in place that he wasn't supposed to be around children 2 years or younger. But it's crazy that to me nobody was really talking about it, and I think it's a conversation that needs to be had and especially in our community, because I think people kind of don't talk about, what do you do in those situations if your child has that kind of
And so, did they say was he molested?
That's what was said, that he was molested. So obviously, he's acting out,
yes.
What happened. So that's why he was in treatment.
Yes. Okay. Because I will also remember vaguely that Dwight Howard, when they were fighting for custody, said that Royce was having sex in front of him. Supposedly.
In front of the son.
Allegedly. Yeah. Allegedly.
And then obviously Royce was saying that Dwight was an absent father, a deadbeat, etc., and he was gay and all this other stuff. So mixed in all of that, I mean, everybody was focused on Royce and Dwight, but nobody was really talking about the kid. And now we obviously see that there may have been something that happened. And it is relative because she was on Basketball Wives, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it is reality TV, whatever. But obviously the main point that we want to talk about is in that situation. For one, it is a conversation that is not talked about enough within the Black community.
Yeah.
And we touched on it a little bit last week, 2 weeks ago.
Which part?
Just that I said, somebody had told me to do this and I was shocked. They said, ask the women that are around you, have they ever been compromised sexually? And I'll say probably about 9 out of 10 said yes.
Yes, always, yeah.
And so I think that conversation gets lost in the protect. When we talk about the divide between Black men and Black women, and then, a lot of Black men are like, why do Black women, have this anger towards us, or they want to say that Black men don't protect them. It's like, well, from that standpoint, if you ask a Black woman, have you been compromised, just because of proximity, I would assume that the majority of those cases are probably from a family member, a Black man, close, somebody that's close to them. So it could be because of that. And I don't want to spear that conversation off into Black men versus Black women. Yeah. But I just want to I want to preface that because the venom that maybe you may be receiving, most times it not comes from a past experience. So,
Yeah.
I think it's something we need to talk about.
100%.
What do you do in that situation
As far as
with your child?
If you were a parent.
Yeah, as a parent. That's what I'm asking.
It sounded like Royce did what she was supposed to do. That is a hard question. That is a hard question. Obviously, as much therapy as has to be done.
First
and foremost, yeah.
I'm not too sure why it was court ordered.
Well, because he had already had he had already done it before.
He had become
No way. I'm saying so. The originally why it was court ordered. So I don't know if it was reported or if
that's what I'm saying.
It was reported.
It was reported. So as a result,
Yeah,
it was a part of the court order was that he obviously get treatment, and also that he couldn't be around children.
So because he had become the offender,
He had to go through the treatment.
he had to go through the treatment.
Yes.
But in the treatment, it came out that he was a victim.
It came out that he did it again.
Right.
That's how it came about.
I'm
as
just
far as her
wondering-
being arrested.
I'm just wondering, did they know he was a victim before he offended?
I believe so.
But that's the crazy part. Have you ever looked at the numbers of
People that were victims that turned into offenders?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever looked at the numbers?
Yeah.
Where it's like the amount of people who are victims that become offenders versus the amount of people that are offenders that have ever been victims. It's
Yes.
something like 80%.
Yeah.
80% of offenders are victims.
Yeah.
And it's like when, again, this freaking conversation, the power I first mentioned, when that is impinged upon you and never healthily discussed or corrected in your brain. And I'm not saying it's right.
Right.
I'm saying we need to change the questions that we ask, where it's like, if you don't correct that in someone's brain, you'll screw it up. And people don't comprehend how trauma works in people's trauma. The body tends to hold the trauma, and the body is what also holds the attraction. So if you trigger someone into a sexual place before their body is in that place, you create a bond in that place, and therefore if you don't correct that, it's messed up. So instead of looking at somebody and going, what's wrong with you, you go, what happened to you? Like, what happened? Tell me what happened, instead of going, what's wrong with you? No. What's wrong with you is like, nothing's wrong with them. They're acting from something. What is it that they're acting from? What is it that's causing this action? Because for every action, there's a reaction. And this just may be a reaction. And we don't think there first because this is a reaction.
Know what? For one, I don't have any answers. I don't have nothing to say. I don't know.
Yeah.
My therapy and whatever she's doing outside of that, I don't know.
Yeah, without understanding like where everything's coming from, there's nothing else you could do. Like the therapy session is it's literally the first and only thing that you can do to try to figure out what else is underlying. And then when we get those, then we can start asking more questions that are directed to what we have now learned from this therapy session.
Yeah. I would just say that in instances like this, you have to depend on the professionals, on the healthcare professionals, and we have to stop putting our children in these positions for it to happen. And what I mean by that is that if you are dating a man or woman, both. Let me just say that, because I don't want people to be like, oh, you trying to kill the woman. No. For both, you should not leave your child alone with somebody that you are dating. You should not leave your child alone with a family member if you do not know, if you do not trust them, as far as like you trust them to be a daycare provider. Even then, you still should be checking with them and trusting your child. If your child is scared to go to somebody, or if your child is uncomfortable around somebody, then you need to pick up on those signs. And you need to listen to your child, because they may have tried something and they just don't know how to verbalize it. And I don't want to make it seem like, oh, you can't trust your family, but you got to definitely thoroughly vet who you are letting around your children.
But
it's a hard conversation to say, but it's just true. It's just true, because we grew up in an age where we were just overly trusting.
Okay, but think about it though. How many times have you gone to a family function and the kids was off in another room?
Right.
And the adults was off doing their thing.
That's true.
And
we do that all the time.
Right.
That's true.
And see, and that's where I will go deeper, even with what Rob was saying, which I think we do, like, well-intentioned, but it's caused this issue on the hindsight is we've taken away kids' autonomy. We've taken away their autonomy over their bodies. And I am an advocate for kids having autonomy over their body because they are a whole person. They are not a half of a human. The moment they are here, they are a whole person. They are allowed, like there's a difference between teaching them that they don't have autonomy over themselves and teaching them respect, where it's like, no, you are required to speak when you enter someone's house. You are required to say bye when you're in someone's house. You are not required to let them touch you or have to hug them or have to kiss them. Like those things, like where it's like, now you're taking away that child's autonomy. Like they are required. It's respectful to speak. It's a respect thing. No, you will speak. I don't care. Like I get it. You can feel how you're feeling, but you're required to speak because that's respectful. But you are not required to, oh, no, girl, sit on your, like that's your uncle, girl, sit on his lap. No. I don't want to. This is my body. And if you let me have autonomy over my body the moment I want to, then the moment someone impinges upon that, you'll know. Because you've taught me how to have autonomy over my body, my space. And the moment someone touches me, I then have voice to say, it's not, oh, he touched me. And, oh, well, how? How did he touch you? How was it? What was he doing? What did he say? Like, no, then now you're interrogating the kid. Now the kid feel like they in trouble, so now they're going to shut down. Trust me, been there, done that, been through the whole whoop wop. And it's like, no. My child has autonomy over her body. And if she says no, the answer is no. Period.
Exactly.
And when you put that wall up around your child and every adult, I don't care who it is, because it's like, oh, someone you can trust, you're going to trust everybody until you can't.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's always that thing. Because I looked like a grown woman at 11. So it's like, everybody was fine around me until, wait a minute. Like, so it was like, it shifts quick. And what happens to them in the process, you never know. So it's like, I'm a firm believer. Like my best friend, her daughter be like, she 4. And I love that little girl to death and she loves me. And I'll be like, do I get a hug today? And she goes, no. And I go, okay, well, I'll see you next time. And she'd be like, okay. And 90% of the time, by the time I'm to the car, she's like, I want a hug now. It's the whole point of I never want her to feel like because I want a hug, she's required to give me one. You're not required to do anything with your body. That's your body. It belongs to you.
Period.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think without being ignorant, and I'm not saying that this is not a male issue because it does happen to men.
Oh,
but it
100%.
Obviously happens to women more. I'm not. I just nothing for me to say. I would say I would feel more comfortable if we had a maybe a therapist that maybe specialized in childhood trauma, whatever. But I think for this conversation, hearing from you guys would probably be better. Yeah. Or more. Yeah, better. I'd say that. Because you guys deal with it more. I'm just, let's just be honest. As far as the age that you're sexualized, as far as, like you said, having just the say so over your body, what you can, what you cannot do, being forced to be in an uncomfortable situation. We talked about earlier, even as an adult, not getting a job promotion just because you don't want to, you know what I mean? Just because the boss thinks you're cute and you don't want to go to lunch with him. You know what I mean? Like it's a perpetual issue. Obviously we're talking about children, but
we are talking about a young boy though. But so, I mean, I think the issue is that we police our girls so much because of that fact. Yeah. You know, we always policing what they wear, you know, trying to make
police. That's the perfect word for it.
Police our girls, but it's like, your son, you know what I mean? I feel like that's not done for boys on the other end.
Yeah.
Which leaves them vulnerable, you know.
And then overall state,
you're right. And obviously for the sake of the conversation, we are talking about a boy. So that is correct. I think we probably should be fair there too.
And see, and that's where I am agreeing with her and you where it's about the boy because of the fact that, and I'm going to take this into this lane specifically because we are in the United States of America and our system is built upon Christian ideas and values per se, originally, where in Christianity, it is put upon the girls to don't make him lust. You cover up and you be modest because you can cause him to stumble. And we automatically begin to train men that they are not as in control of their bodies. They are not as in control of their urges. And they're given way more freedom to follow the urges in which they want to versus women, on the other hand, are put into this place of, oh, no. Like, there's almost like, there's blame.
That's true.
There's some blame there. So even in a state of when someone impinges upon your free will as a child, you still inherently get a little bit of that blame as a woman because, well, what did you do? Well, how were you dressed? Right.
That's a good point. Yeah. No, that's
me.
And so when men become, and the percent of men that become offenders versus women that become offenders from being touched is catastrophic because of that fact. Well, we don't teach men the same thing we teach women, where it's like, no, your body is a part of you as a being, and you are in control of that being. And if there's something going on with you, then there should be a safe place for you to go talk about it, or a comprehension or some level of something to be able to let you know, like, yo.
Accountability.
Yeah.
So let me ask this, because obviously we don't have all the facts. They're going to come out. But if he was molested, do you think that what you're saying works in reverse?
100%.
That with boys, we assume or we think that they're safe and that they're more free, or they can protect themselves, or they're going to speak up, or they're going to say something. So when they are in a situation where they are with an older man, that, oh, it's just the boys being with the boys. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Or because I think in today's society, we're more suspicious of if a man took a little girl by himself, you know what I mean? Or if an older man took a man, or they're sleeping in the same bed. So, because I'm assuming and I don't want to assume, I'm guessing that if he was molested, that it was an older man that did it.
Yeah.
Because then he seemed like he reenacted that on the other boy. Because I think we were watching before where he said that he made the boy masturbate in front of him or something like that.
No, he made the boy masturbate him. He said he made the boy masturbate him because he was
angry.
Because he was mad. He was angry with him.
Yeah. Well, look, don't even get me started. In my brain, especially as someone sadly, I have no idea who you guys are talking about. I'm just following what you guys are saying. I'm going to make an assumption because I have absolutely no back.
This is alleged.
I don't even know who you guys are talking about. I have no background on this story at all. I don't even know this person.
Right.
So I'm going to make an assumption from myself and what I've studied, because I am a licensed minister. I've studied, like I have a licensed life coaching, all these things, and I specialize in childhood trauma. I'm going to guess that this male that you guys are speaking of that is an offender, he presents feminine, right? Does he present more feminine?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Really? Idea. Like this is not.
No. Like we have no idea.
Okay, because I'm thinking it's somebody that's like out in public. Like it's not like a public person.
The one who's
the offender.
Well, the story's about it's a boy.
14.
Right, and we don't know.
There's nothing about him. Like you don't see him. Like there's no pictures of him. No nothing.
No,
because even when she was on,
not the one who did it too. Not the one who it happened to, but the person who did it.
Yeah.
Ain't no information.
The only thing that we know is about the mom and the dad, which is Dwight Howard, and then Royce Reed she was a cheerleader and she was on.
Okay, and the son. Reality. The son is who you guys are talking about.
Her son.
Yes. The son who you guys are talking about, does he present more masculine?
We don't know.
No. So it's a very interesting thing because I was watching Euphoria yesterday. Right, and there was a scene where the football kid, the dude was in football, had a situation to where essentially I'm assuming it was the other teammates kind of hazing him, running in on Halloween, mask on, and damn near I think they're might have raped him, right? I'm not 100% sure. It wasn't clear, shown, but it seemed like it, right? But the way that his father raised him was that whatever emotions that you have,
hold it in.
You bottle that shit up and you put it out on the field, right? He ended up going to the bathroom, trying to hold his tears back and try to catch his composure and go back to with his girlfriend.
Yeah,
that's
bull.
Is this bull?
Yeah,
because especially if you're telling him to let that out on the field, that means you're only putting that out when you're playing on the field. Right. Now he's damn near being benched because he's not the best in the school.
Which means he's not getting release.
He's not getting that release.
Yes. And that's why I was asking, because the more I study and the more I dig into, especially energy and the way people release energy and what the act of sexual exchange actually is and what that looks like, and why people who are natural healers naturally carry more sexual energy and need more sexual release, where it is that place of being able to teach your kids how to release that energy because you're angry. And now you're going to force somebody to give you a release. So my thing is this: was he not taught or trained how to release his energy properly? Because anger is natural. Anger at its core is the response to injustice, period. I feel like I've been impinged upon. I am angry and I want to let that out because I feel like you shouldn't have done that, or whatever shouldn't have happened, whatever. There should be a safe space to release that. Like, I teach my friends' kids all the time. Like, I'm like, are you mad? I'm angry. Well, what do we want to do about that? Like, do we need to punch something? Do we need to scream? What do we need? Because you need to let that out of you, or else it's going to ruminate and it's going to become something that's not else. Positive.
Right.
So in teaching our kids how to let that out, especially our men, that is the biggest problem. Like, we don't teach our men, like, let that out. Like, there's a proper place. And then you teach the women something completely different, opposite. Yeah. And then you create dynamics that's why, Black love is not prospering the way it needs to be, because we are
taught different
things. We're taught such different things, and not how to sit in a place where it's like,
where we can't really coexist.
Well, Black men are not allowed to be angry. I would say them to be. I would say that Black women aren't allowed to be angry either. I think Black people just in general.
Yeah.
But for Black men,
what is anger in general? A response to what? So why would I let you be angry if I'm the one that's giving you that's causing the injustice? You have no right to be angry. Why?
Well,
because
I'm just saying just
in general being angry.
But no, but I understand
perfect
what you're saying.
sense, because the system that's built around us is from our ingesters.
Yeah.
But even in our households, we're not allowed, because again, it's that, and we talked about it before, just the way that the media paints us is automatically have a criminal element. You're automatically savage, beast, whatever, that you're, basically non-human. So you're not allowed to be angry, because if you are angry, then I'm afraid of what you're going to do.
Right.
And just like you said, when you are angry, if you direct the anger towards the person that you are actually angry with, then there's going to be a problem.
Right.
Because we know why we're angry.
Who's the weaker species.
We know, well, it's just that we know why we can sit down and really figure out why we're really angry. And most of those roads lead to one person. But the person that is behind the trigger, if you want to say that, they don't want that retaliation coming back at us. So it is kind of like the thing, like, I know that there's going to be some vengeance or some type of revenge at some point in time, and I don't want it to come back on us.
I think what happens with Black men is when they're angry, they're automatically labeled as violent. And with Black women, when we're angry, we're labeled as bitter,
aggressive,
you know what I'm saying?
Loud, ghetto.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like, I feel like we avoid those emotions to 100%. Avoid those labels.
That's true.
Yeah.
So
I would agree with
100%.
that.
And it's funny because before Bad Girls Club, I would never let myself get angry. And so being put into a position where the world seen me in this light, which was the light I've avoided my whole life, was, I think, the biggest trigger for me, which triggered my healing. So I'm grateful, but it's like being seen as something I was completely not, because my dad to this day laughs at me. He's like, you get mad? He goes, baby, that voice drop and every word that comes out of your mouth is so enunciated because 15-year-old me encountered a boss who was like, oh, well, you know how they get to, and my boss looked at that lady. She looked at me, she was like, can you step out? Because the lady accused me of doing something that was not in my nature, but she seen what she was like, what she was getting at. And that day, 15-year-old me was like, never again will I ever be accused of this. And realizing that it didn't matter. It did not matter. I was always light enough to pass. I was always like, able to fit in or whatever. But even today, like being surrounded by some of my closest friends are all white. And one of my best friends actually being around me has given her room to step outside of her box that she's been put in, and being like, yo, I've never fit into this box of tininess or needing to shrink herself or whatever. But it sucks because Black women, as who we are, have the capacity for our men's emotions. Like, we have capacity for that. We have room for that. But there's a difference for me to pick up the phone and me to say, oh my God, I am mad. And for you to bring your anger to me versus for you to take your anger out on me. And that is the difference, where I can create space for you to be angry, but I do not want to take your anger. And that is but that is any emotion in general, where it's like, yo, I have room for your excitement. I have room for whatever energy you need to bring me. And you just need to bring it, but don't throw it at me as if I'm required to catch it, because that's not the same thing.
Exactly. We just have to teach our kids at a early age on how to properly handle your emotions. Yeah. And that's really what it's about down to.
And the fact that just because you're angry or you feel like something was in jest, you do not need to go at what harmed you, because that's our biggest problem. It's like, you treated me bad, now I want to come back at you. No. Let's look at the injustice. And let's look at why it was unjust, and let's figure out how we can change the injustice and not change the individual or change the person or change the encounter. Like, there is always a way to dissect the encounter, because it's not always about the person. It's more so about what the encounter was and how it can shift. Now, molestation is different, but you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, but in general.
But as kids, we don't give our children the space to be emotional.
That too. We talk about a black man and black women, but even kids are not allowed to.
They're not allowed to be emotional, and we have the capacity to do it.
White kids are allowed to be emotional. Like, they throw tension.
Black kids are not. Yeah. But I'm just saying, just even just think about, for like those that are actually listening, just think about this. At your job, do you have patience with your coworkers and your boss? Absolutely. But when you get home, that patience goes out the door.
Because you've been forced to be patient.
And you feel like you have the liberty to speak, say, do however you want to. So my thing of it is, that should be switched.
100%.
There's people that you live with, love with, or that you are married with, or that you are raising.
They deserve your patience.
They deserve the same capacity of patience that you have with people that you work with. I think there was a conversation between James Baldwin and Nicki Giovanni.
I remember.
Where she's basically saying that she was like, well, lie to me. And she's like, well, I can't lie to you. I have to be honest. She's like, but you lied to them. You come home and you take out all your anger out on me, but you go to there and they get the best of you. But when you come home, I get the paraphrase her, that I get the rest of whatever's left. Yeah. And that interview hit me. It's like, it's true. Yeah. Because when I come home, I'm drained. Yep. So what I give off is whatever's left. And it's like, but why am I giving all of the best of me to my job when home is where community, family is built? I can't be a good leader, good husband, good father if I am giving the best of me to my 9 to 5. It needs to be given to the people that I'm building my legacy with, my family, my last name with. So, I think even though it's kind of tied to what we're talking about, but we have to give children room to be emotional and let them work through their emotions. That stop crying or I'm gonna give you something to cry about. That's not, who does that serve?
But
it serves you as the parent.
You first have to be an adult that knows how to work through your emotions.
There you go.
To teach it. And that's one of the biggest problems.
There you go. Which is why it's like, that's why I'm like, yo, she ain't popping out nobody's kids until she finished dealing with her own mama issues. Like, I'm not gonna be nobody mama until
that's true.
Same. And that's the key. But I'll ask you, like, even with that sentence about giving your best to your coworkers, how often do you show up to work with a full tank of gas? Like, and that's the key. Like, it's like, if you are full, if you start every day as like I said, a journey, a road trip, and if your tank is full, you don't show up as empty as you do if you started with a quarter tank of gas.
That's true.
And it's just about making sure that your home life and the way that you've cultivated your relationship, the marriage in which you're given, you are married to somebody who has the capacity to fill you up before you go to work. So that way you're not showing up like, oh, she gave me her full cup, but it still ain't got me to where I need to be. That's going to cause those cycles in the situation, and that's what's important, where it's like, you got to comprehend your own capacity, and then once you do that, then you begin to create that and cultivate that.
See, now I want to go back into retail just for one customer, so I can tell them like, hey, yo, you don't deserve my patience. You don't deserve my patience.
Like, she on E right now, so hey.
What's up, man?
Talk about kids. Come here, Papa.
Okay. That is Rob energy at the best, okay?
What's up?
What's up?
We got one special guest over here. We got special guest number 2.
Yes.
Say what's up, man.
Came in, turned
Man, he
up.
was like, hey. He is ready.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. I do want to, because I don't know if by the time they listen to this, she will be confirmed as Supreme Court Ketanji Brown. Ketanji. Mm-hmm. See, I got to get the pronunciation right.
Right.
Yeah.
Put some respect on her name.
Put some respect on her name.
Because after
Respect on
them
her name.
interviews, baby, you
Man.
better respect her name.
I just want to make sure that we are, because this is a huge moment in history, not only just for America, but for Black women everywhere that have been told that they are not good enough to do their job and have been overqualified, but have been brought down to shrink because it fits in the narrative. So I'm just glad that she's broke the mold. She will be confirmed.
Yes.
And we will have the first Black woman serving on the Supreme Court. And I just think that's just dope, man. That's just
This is the history that I like to live through. You know what I mean? Not the other shit.
Yeah. Well, you know, history is about what we do with what was given to us, not what was given to us. Like I tell you all the time, slavery ain't my history. Slavery, your history. Martin Luther King is my history. Barack Obama is my history. Like, my history is not what you did to me. My history is my response to what you did to me.
And
Period.
I will say this for the people that was talking all that mess and stuff, this is why elections matter.
Yes, come on.
Because
Vote.
if Joe Biden was not as acting president, this would not happen. So I know people's voting and this and that. You shouldn't be voting don't matter. I have to beg to differ.
Yeah.
And you are open to your opinion.
Yes.
But I think the evidence stacks up that it does.
Yeah, 100%.
So-
I get it. You live in California, you know, you can vote Republican all you want, but
It ain't gonna matter.
it don't matter. You living, but that's also about comprehending what that looks like and what that means. So you got to get an understanding of what that looks like.
And even if you think your vote doesn't matter on a
Vote.
national scale, it
Vote.
matters on a local scale.
Yes, 100%.
Always.
So-
always gonna matter on the local
Either
scale.
way you say it, voting does matter.
It does matter.
And I don't want to say voting is not the say all be all, but it does make an impact. So I don't want people like, oh, well, you trying to vote and gonna fix everything. No, I didn't say that.
No.
Voting
gets you in a position to understand your voice matters. What you got to say matter. Your opinion matter. You being up on what's going on matters.
Yeah. And it's part of the solution.
Yes.
I didn't say it is a solution.
whole
It's not.
solution,
Yeah, it's So we obviously want to thank Stasi for coming and
you
taking
guys
a
for
part of
having
her
me.
Saturday.
Yeah, thank you guys for
and
having
being
me.
on the
Appreciate light skin.
podcast. We loved you.
Don't get beat up.
She's like, look, we almost made it through the whole episode.
I'm dark skinned, okay?
So we're gonna give you another round of applause.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You'll be a friend of the show. We're gonna have to have you back on in a future date.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
Yeah, no, we try. This is why we built the platform.
Yeah.
And it's good to have another Black woman on the podcast because sometimes stuff be getting a little loud.
I be outnumbered.
Yeah.
I need the energy.
I'll leave my resume, since there's, there's room or whatever. But no, y'all don't want to hear me talking. But yeah, I love it. Like I enjoy it. Like I enjoy y'all. I enjoy y'all point of view and just having the platform. Like I said, because of how diverse you guys are and how much we need it. We need it. For us.
For
right?
us.
We do.
For us.
Yeah.
For us.
Period.
For us.
Absolutely.
And when I say us, I mean our culture, not our color. Like people don't comprehend. Black is not a color; it's a culture. Yeah.
Ooh, that's a whole nother podcast.
Sorry,
Whole nother podcast.
I'm a walking podcast. Okay, like
And we want to give a shout out to D-Lo, man. You know what I'm saying? He always supporting and showing out.
He ain't been here in a while.
When's the we gonna announce that.
Yeah, we
We gonna keep that in the tuck.
under wraps.
We gonna keep that in the tuck.
oh, I'm nosy. I'm like, wait, what happened?
We gonna keep that in
You'll
the tuck.
find out.
All right,
I'm like,
y'all.
who's mom?
We love y'all. Thank y'all. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Help us out with the algorithm. Do your thing. Leave us a review. You guys already know what it is, but the goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. So if y'all can help us get there, please help us get there. If not, a listen and a share will do just fine. All right. We love y'all. Power to the people. Hello.
I know you
out.
are.
We out.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's go.